There's not a Uplink contested, are you serious? Did you see that? That was just huge central for Crimsix.
Oh man, I got the 3, making 4 kills at the start. He's already 2.5 kills away from getting his score straight.
Gonna do it, check your corners, find one, there goes Huddle. No,
Let's go! Oh my God! What?
Just do your stretches, get ready, because it's gonna be a party.
Oh my God!
What is happening?
Good job, good job.
Somebody call Sonny! It's the best in the world that can happen! Oh my God! Go play! Go play! Go play! Be the hero FaZe fans need! He's gonna do it!
Complete promotion is gonna be there.
Not enough time to work with! And Uplink Gaming is not incredible stuff. Clay killing everybody. Watch all the points! Oh my God! Doing it all by himself.
Inside the hardpoint, around 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Championship Sunday here at MLG Orlando. Benson, joined by our phenomenal analyst that's doing a fantastic job, I should say, all weekend long. Of course, we've got Replays, Merc, and TP, who've been breaking down every single game. But guys, Championship Sunday, you've all played on it. How's it feel, Replays?
This feels great. I mean, this is probably the most important day for the players, of course. This is a great feeling. I think every player is going to be confident. I'm very excited to see the matches that we have to start, and I mean, yeah, I'm just excited.
Merc, ever get a little bit nervous on Championship Sunday?
I mean, not really nervous, just anxious. You know, you look forward to this day. I mean, sometimes as players, you just look past the other 2 days and you want to play here, but it's the best day. This is where champions are born.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. We have tons of Call of Duty action to show you today. But let's start by just reiterating the prizing. What is everyone going to be playing for today? Of course, the prize will coming in at $100,000 for MLG Orlando. Big chunk of change, especially, you know, considering it's a very good warm-up as well before COD XP. That's in 3 weeks, TP. And I feel like this is invaluable practice, right?
I'll completely agree with you on that one. You know, we're on Championship Sunday, and from my experiences as a player, it really feels like a different tournament compared to Friday and Saturday, especially this first match. Expect these players to light it up on the scoreboard on this one. If they're able to pull out that first one, it builds a lot of momentum.
Well, speaking of the games we're going to see today, let's take a look at our bracket and see how everything has panned out. Of course, we had so many games yesterday. We had, of course, the completion of the pools early on in the afternoon, and then some winners bracket games and also some losers bracket games going on. So this is a look at the bracket. Of course, Optic Gaming, they have progressed through to our winners bracket final, as well as that Team Elevate on the bottom side, managing to come out in 3-0 Luminosity. That's going to put Luminosity down into the losers bracket. They're going to be going up against FaZe in our first game of the day. Meanwhile, underneath them in the losers, Team Envious are going to meet up against Rise Nation. Guys, we have some fantastic, fantastic games. In terms of the 2 losers bracket games, we're going to see FaZe Luminosity first. So let's talk about the other one, Replays. What are your realistic expectations for that one?
I don't really know. I mean, Rise and Envy had a great series last night. The reverse sweep was absolutely insane to watch. So I think that's going to be a really, really great match. It's really going to be whoever shows up on Sunday.
The biggest problem that both of those squads had yesterday was closing out games. Whichever team started off strong ended up, you know, sort of lacking. The biggest thing, though, is Optic uses that momentum so much better than every other team. You saw on the map number 4, CTF completely wiping them off the map. So, you know, Optic's a scary beast once they get rolling.
Yeah, and I think for me, like we talked about, I think the first game in losers bracket of the day is the most important. You can just gain so much momentum, that hype, that adrenaline rush. It just stays with you the entire day. But you have to get into that sort of competitive mode as soon as you can.
Well, one of the things that I actually kind of want to ask you is, obviously, you got reverse sweep yesterday, right? If you guys were playing and you get reverse sweep yesterday and you come into Championship Sunday, is it easy, Replays, to kind of flip that switch and kind of forget about yesterday and say today's a new day? Like, how easy is that as a player?
I think so. I think it's pretty easy. I think if you're very confident, they played well yesterday. I know they did get reverse sweep, but they definitely showed signs of that they can compete and they can take this team out. They beat them last event. I think they're going to be very confident going into this next match.
And if I'm Envy, I'm pissed off. Like, you know, like I threw away a 3-0 for sure. And you have to play with that anger. I mean, one of the guys we always talk about who plays with, you know, that sort of aggressiveness is Krim, and you can see what it does to a team. So if I'm Envy, I'm coming out hot right out of the gates just from, you know, that loss off yesterday.
You don't think we'll see any deja vu, TP? If maybe Envious go 2-0 up, they might start crumbling again a little bit. Is that something which maybe worries you a little bit about that Envy squad?
Yeah, this lineup, I feel like they have some composure issues at times. When they're on top, but when they start to lose those games, they should be closing out. Some of the players tend to go on tilt at times. They have some choice words for their teammates. They need to make sure they keep calm. The biggest thing we need to touch on, though, is that they were able to get that reverse sweep very late last night against Cloud9 to keep their hopes alive in this tournament. If they can ride that wave of momentum into this one versus Rise, they have a good chance of making a grand final.
And to me, that's huge, right? Like, you lose last night, and then you're down 2-0 in a pretty late losers bracket match. Like, most teams are out. They're out of this tournament. They probably lose that third game. So for me, that's a huge story for Envy. I think that just means, you know, it shows how bad they want to be here today.
Okay, obviously, the FaZe Luminosity game is going to be a repeat of Anaheim. We'll touch on that a little bit later on after the pregame show, because that's going to be the first game on stream. But let's talk a little bit about the winners bracket final. Surprised to see Elevate up there replays?
Yes and no. I feel like every time we count Elevate out, I think they come right back in and they show us why they deserve to be there. I like the way Elevate plays. They're a complete team. They're one of the only rosters in probably Call of Duty right now that have had that team that are created for Search and Destroy, Uplink, and CTF. They're not that hardpoint slaying dominant team where like you see them on paper and you're like, this team's going to be absolutely phenomenal. They just have so much Slayers and all this stuff. And a lot of the times, that doesn't always work out for Call of Duty teams, so I definitely love the way they are playing this game. They continuously battle back in every series, and I think it's not that surprising to see them here.
Realistically, TP, can they compete with Optic Gaming now?
My initial reaction is to say no, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that performance last night versus LG was probably the most dominating performance we've seen out of this lineup in Elevate. I haven't seen them dominate a 3-0 like that in such a long time, so the fact that they are catching wind at this sort of situation in the tournament is impressive, to say the least.
I feel like they're going to have a ton of confidence from that.
Oh, and I mean, if like in terms of competing with the Optic, I mean, they went map 5 versus Anaheim. I mean, I think they should have probably went into a second best of 5 at that tournament. They can compete, and again, you know, focusing on this guy on your screen, Faceno, like if he plays how we did yesterday, the thing is, like, you know, Faceno and Nagafin, supposedly Nagafin had a huge series versus FaZe before that. If those two guys can step up and help Aqua and Felony fill in that sort of Slayer, you know, Slayer numbers, this team can compete. You've seen some weaknesses from Optic this event.
Sure. I'm so excited, of course, for Championship Sunday. We have tons of games, but we should actually take a look at our schedule for the day. And obviously, you guys as fans out there of your favorite teams will be able to know exactly when they're going to play. As I mentioned before, though, kicking things off on the Alpha stream, we have FaZe versus Luminosity as our first game. Then, of course, we go to our winners bracket final. Optic Gaming going to meet Elevate. Then our losers final, and of course, our grand final, the championship match later on in the day, around about 3:30 p.m. Eastern. That one is going to be fantastic. And you know, since we're on Championship Sunday, I want to go down the line and kind of get each one of your opinions as which two teams we'll see. I'm going to start with you, Replays. Give me those two teams that you expect to see in that championship match.
I think we're going to say Optic Gaming, most likely, and I think that we're going to see, I'm going to put my faith in Rise.
You're going with Rise?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think they looked really good yesterday, especially playing Optic. I know they got reverse swept, but I think they were showing signs of greatness and why they can compete. I think if they keep up that level of gameplay here, I think they're going to be able to beat Envy and take a nice run into the finals. Okay, fair enough. We have Optic Rise. Merc, your opinions?
I think it's Optic, and I think whoever wins that first match between Envy and Rise, right? Like I just think that momentum, if Elevate drops that first series, you know, and goes to losers, and then they end up playing like an Envy or Rise, I just see that team beating them and moving on to the final.
Feel that kind of matchup, whoever wins that losers bracket matchup is going to beat the FaZe LG winner? Is that kind of where you're at right now?
Absolutely. I think, you know, you put Rise and Envy alongside Optic with like the top 3 teams in terms of talent in the game. So if these guys warm up, start the day off hot, they can easily be in the championship final.
A lot of people have argued at the Stage 2 finals, Envy really didn't play the best competition that we have in the professional Call of Duty scene. So this is it for me. This is Envy's test. Are they the elite team that we're going to expect going into COD XP? I'm not sure yet, personally. They have a lot of glaring issues. They tilt off in series sometimes. We saw it versus Rise. I think that Rise Envy one's a very good test to see if Envy's going to be in that top 2 with Optic Gaming.
Well, I'm very excited. You guys are adding a little bit of hype to it. Some awesome storylines being developed. As we said, the first game on the main stage is going to be FaZe Clan versus Luminosity Gaming. A little bit of a rematch, maybe some redemption coming in from MLG Anaheim. Very excited for now. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we return, first game of Championship Sunday.
My name is James Eubanks, and I'm known as Cler online.
No!
Okay.
1v4! Get on my level!
Okay.
I've always been very, very good at FPS games, and so growing up, I was always the best in my family, the best in my friends, at everything that we played that was FPS oriented. So starting off, even though I'd only played it one day, I was already way better than all of them.
He always had a love of video games, but when we got to Virginia and he really started to play, I had no idea I'd never heard of esports. I'd never heard of Call of Duty.
Two of my friends in real life got on the Call of Duty bandwagon in Call of Duty 4. They left it at my house one night, and I ended up playing it all night and just like getting my adrenaline pumping, my heart beating, and just slaying everybody around me. It gave me this one-man army feel that I think that other games lack a lot of the times. But with Call of Duty, one player can go off and really change the game, and I think that's what attracted me to Call of Duty. It's like, okay, where can we find more competition? And that's where we found websites like Game Battles and MLG and stuff to where we could compete. And that's really where I learned to like mold my talent and like start thinking strategically and start thinking about the game strategically.
Yeah, Cler is just the fuel for this team.
It got to the point we were getting sound systems, we were getting, and I'm thinking, what, are you gambling? Are you dealing drugs? I really had no idea. And he's like, no, Mom, really. And here he was asking to go off to different cities by himself, and he's like 15 and 16. Wasn't happening. But I had to learn about the community. I had to learn about the game. And I couldn't do anything but support him because he was so passionate about it.
So high school for me was a bit of a growing pains area. I was still trying to come into my own and trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life. I was a little ashamed of what I did, and that's playing Call of Duty at a competitive level, at a very high level. I thought a lot of people would find that really nerdy and like really like kind of dumb, and they would just see me like look down on me for it. And so I kind of hid it from all my classmates and stuff. I didn't really tell anybody. And then now I realize that it actually is pretty cool. It's a very unique job that I have. It's a really interesting talent that I have to be able to be this good at Call of Duty. And so I should have owned up to it a little more in high school, and I think maybe that would give me a little more street cred or something. But high school for me was just a lot of getting through it till college. Playing Call of Duty never affected my grades. Video gaming has never really affected my grades. I actually went to West Virginia University for 6 semesters. I only have 2 semesters left to get my bachelor's degree, and I ended up with a 3.65 GPA. And so even though I was doing a part-time job, I was doing Call of Duty full-time, and I was going to school full-time. So managing all that with the social life aspect is really, really difficult, and that's why I kind of had to take a step back from the part-time job, take a step back from school just to kind of follow my dreams in Call of Duty.
It's like any other sport. You have a small, time frame, a small window of opportunity to be good and to do what you do. And I'm like, okay, I have to trust that I raised somebody that knows what they're doing. It was a leap of faith, and I'm glad I took it.
Right now, a lot of people consider me one of the best to play the game, but when I'm completely done, I just want to be known as like one of the best Call of Duty players to ever play the game.
Fantastic piece there on Cler, and it's great to hear from Mama Clay in the video too. It's always good to see, a quote made that leap of faith in her son, and obviously, he says he wants to be remembered as one of the most successful Call of Duty players of all time. I think it's fair to say you can check that thing off the list, right?
He's doing a pretty good job.
That's done.
I think it's fair to say, like, if there was a Call of Duty Hall of Fame, you can probably expect to see Clay in there.
Yes.
But speaking of parents in esports, I always find it an interesting dynamic, right? How do you tell your parents and your loved ones, hey, I want to play professional video games? Obviously, I've met your mom several times. She made me a mug, actually. It says MLG and it has Benson on one side. It's a fantastic mug. Shout out to Mama Replays. But what was that conversation like there, Replays, when you said to your parents, hey, so there's this thing called Call of Duty, I want to play this professionally?
I don't really know. It was definitely a weird conversation. I think the first event I ever tried to go to was in Call of Duty 4. It was a COD 4 Nationals, I think in 2009 or 2010. I'm not even sure. And I wasn't able to go. But when I turned 17, I remember I had a part-time job at the time, and I begged my parents to let me travel by myself because I've never really flown by myself. And I was just like, I have the money. I saved up all this money. I was like, please let me go. They let me go. So it was definitely a weird conversation. I don't know. It was something that it was hard to get through to them.
I imagine it kind of changes a little bit when you win $1 million tournament, right? Because obviously you won the original Call of Duty XP. I imagine your parents kind of looked at you and went, oh, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, even just that first year, right? I mean, the first event I ever went to was 2010 Modern Warfare 2 Nationals. I was 16. It's like, Mom, I'm going to Dallas. what? By yourself? You know, I had to show her if this was a legit thing. She's like, are you sure this is fake? Like, so, you know, it's obviously something that you have to discuss with your parents, but, you know,
For sure.
you know, there are very supporting parents out there that I did take that leap of faith, and then I had such a successful 2011, and after that, it was just like they were so supportive from there on.
And T, what's it kind of like to explain to your parents, hey, not only am I a world champion, but I was a part of one of the biggest like dynasties in Call of Duty history. Is that something your parents kind of understand?
It took them a while, but sort of halfway through our run, I think they started to figure out how on top of the world we really are and how cool this scene is. For the event that really stands out is Anaheim 2011. I had a lot of friends and family there, and the fact that once you see an event like this live, I think that's really what opens people's eyes to what this community is, and it's a really cool sight to see sort of people in the normal world come to this world, and they're absolutely shocked about it. So it's really sweet.
Well, it's good to hear. It's always good to see the parents behind some of the superstars in esports, that's for sure. But up next on main stage, of course, we have that FaZe versus Luminosity game. Before we kind of touch on that, Merc, let's kind of talk about what happened last night. Of course, there was a couple of games off stream that happened in the losers bracket. Specifically, we'll talk about Team Infused first, because there could be some Europeans tuning in and saying, hey, where is Team Infused? Sadly, Merc, they're no longer with us. Yeah,
Infused dropped to Complexity, and Complexity finishes top 8, but Infused lose a game 5, and again, it just seems like MLG events, they're just tough for European teams. The competition is insane, but you know, if I'm Infused, I'm happy that I was here, able to get this LAN practice before COD XP.
Practice,
yeah,
right?
it was so crucial, and these guys are just gaining that experience, you know, every single time. I still hope we see an EU team, Splice, Millennium, Infuse. I want them to do very well at XP. But then on the other side, Luminosity did lose last night to Elevate in a probably like the worst match we've ever seen Luminosity play. That uplink, it was probably over in the first 2 minutes.
It was absolutely brutal. Me and Revan just kind of looked at each other on the caster desk going, what is going on? Like, are they fighting back? It looked as if is there a controller issue? Like, are they moving? But right. Elevate all over them. But in terms of Complexity, Team, is a top 8 finish a lot more than what you expected? Because, I mean, you look at Aches last event, didn't win a map. He starts off groups where we're sat here going, okay, well, you know, you won a couple now. Like, great, good on you. But top 8? That's impressive.
That's pretty much good for me. That's what I expected from them, 8 to 12, that sort of range. I think that was a good finish for them. The question for them now is, are they going to try and make some roster changes? Are they happy with that sort of situation? What really stuck out for me is, you know, Lacefield's a beast, man. We were watching some of those games super late last night, and the man's getting excited, getting hyped. He got like a 2.0 KD in one of the hard points. It's unbelievable stuff from him. If they can figure out some stuff, I think they can easily get like a top 6 finish or something like that at XP.
Yeah, I mean, he went 44 and 22 in a hard point. I think it was a fringe hard point with a submachine gun.
He's a
the guy's talented. I think who I was most surprised by was Ricky. So for me, you know, it's going to come down to a lot of what Ace and Accuracy do in the future. And if they do stick with this roster. But, you know, and then FaZe take them down 3-1. So FaZe obviously showing up and beating them.
Do you think maybe Complexity are going to look at making a team change? Obviously, 3 weeks to COD XP, time's ticking. You had a top 8 placement here, which is better than I feel like a lot of people may have expected. Do you recommend a team change that replays?
I mean, I'm very against roster changes. I think it's very simple just to practice the game for a couple hours a day and watch some theater together. I know a lot of teams struggle to do it because they're lazy, and it's very sad to see, but I don't think roster changes are necessary. I mean, maybe if you want to do one player, if you get the right player to change in for that roster, but I don't really think it's necessary. I think they see what they did wrong here. They practice with a level head, and they just get better, and they go from top 8 to top 6 or something like that, or even top 4. It's very good progress.
I mean, Tyler and I were watching their games. You know, we just couldn't sleep after all the exciting matches last night. And I'm not going to point out a specific player, but there was some nerves. You could just tell, especially that Game 5 versus Infuse. I'm not going to do that because, again, a top 8 placing was good for that team, but you could tell like there was some nerves, you know, going on, you know, in that roster. So we'll see if those players like Pat noticed that. So
I'm gonna be super blunt. Their uplink in CTF was terrible to watch, largely due to some of Aches' gameplay. He needs to slow it down at times, and he needs to be that. Ricky was doing a great job with that second sub.
He's like, no.
Aches' problem is he just switches his weapons on a whim, makes his teammates adapt a little bit too much. So he needs to focus on those 3s of 4, something that he's been traditionally good at. But from what I was watching last night, not so much.
That's something that we've kind of talked about in the analyst desk. You know, you go back to the caller, you guys would change classes dependent on certain hard points. Is that something where he's may still have that mindset, do you think, Teep? Or, I mean, Merc, you're shaking your head.
He does whatever he wants. It's Patrick Price. He does what he wants to do. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
I mean, the games we watched when he was using a sub in the CTF, the team just looked so much better. He was just putting on pressure with his team out, helping out Lacefield and Ricky. I mean, they still have some work to do, and they got to get home and practice for these qualifiers coming up.
Still a fantastic placement for them, though, top 8. Definitely better than I feel a lot of people may have expected coming into this event. But of course, we should talk about the next game on main stage. We have that FaZe versus Luminosity game. It's a rematch, if you will, from what we saw at MLG Anaheim. We have the maps as well for you. It's obviously going to help with your guys' analysis. We'll start with it this time as opposed to doing the analysis and then getting to the maps. Of course, Breach, Hardpoint, Stronghold, Search and Destroy, Infection, Uplink. We have a Fringe CTF and Evac S and D replays. I'm going to start with you. We'll go with Breach, Hardpoint. We'll go map by map, if you will. This is one we saw earlier on in the tournament with FaZe play, and they seemed a little shaky on that, if you will.
I think these first 3 maps might be FaZe's worst 3 maps. I think historically speaking in the CWL, I don't think we've seen them really perform well on Breach, Stronghold, or Infection. So this is going to be a tough series for them. I mean, maybe they adapted, maybe they changed a few mistakes, because I know we saw them play. They were a little shaky.
Yep.
And the one thing I will say about FaZe right now in this event is they looked a little shaky in the Search and Destroy when they played Complexity. They talked about it. They fixed their mistakes. So if they can have that mindset towards their Hardpoint and towards their Uplink and even the Search and Destroy, I think it could be something. But I know, historically speaking, this is probably some of their tougher maps.
Are the last 2 maps, does that kind of make you feel more comfortable if you're a FaZe fan? Or is it still kind of like, okay, well, it's not like you've gone from your worst 3 to your best 2. Is it more of the case you've gone from your worst 3 to, maps you're okay at?
This event, I'm definitely confident, probably, if I'm a FaZe fan, going into that last 2, just because their CTF has been pretty on point.
Okay.
And, I mean, CTF for them, it's either they're hot or they're not really, but they've played well and they've played a little shaky. And then that last Evac Search and Destroy, I mean, I don't think there is any team or any fan of a team or any person right now that goes into an Evac Search and Destroy and goes, I'm confident. No one really plays the map. It's probably the most under-practiced map in the CWL, probably in Call of Duty history of maps being underplayed. So I don't think anyone's confident going into that last map.
So, I mean, what do you expect? Going into a map which is extremely under-practiced from both sides, is it just kind of like, all right, we're just going to go as a team and pray for the best? Is that really?
Evac's just one of those maps where it's like, there's so many lanes. It's like, let's 4 go this way, let's 4 go this way. It's just 4-on-4 altercations, and then it comes down to those 2v2, 3v2, sort of skirmishes that we see.
Right.
It's going to be whoever makes those, fast decisions that we've been talking about in Search and Destroy. I'm really excited to see that Stronghold, because I think we did see that in Anaheim. We sort of saw like that study, like Clayster. Remember, Clayster just challenged study a lot, right? So I'm excited to see that sort of sniper matchup.
In terms of Luminosity, TP, what is it they need to do to start off in this series? Because I feel like we always kind of talk about FaZe, sometimes starting a little slow. How important is it for them to just kind of come out the gate all guns blazing?
The biggest thing I saw from their match last night is I would look over many times throughout when they were actually in the midst of a game, and the communication wasn't there. That's not good at all. Energy is very important. Saints was not playing the best that I've seen from him, and he's sort of the biggest player you need to see, especially on a Breach Hardpoint. You look to Saints to not necessarily carry you, but have that really solid result that we know he's able to do.
And I think this first map is important for both teams. Obviously, of course, you want to start up 1-0, but I think after the series that Luminosity had yesterday, I think they're going to really want to come out with a map win and start some momentum. But if I'm on FaZe's side of things, I'm pretty sure they've won 1 Hardpoint.
It was a Breach.
It was a Breach.
There was a one
They've
map
won. Yeah, so that's the one map they won. It wasn't too in dominant fashion. So they have not been on their game in Hardpoint. So they definitely want to come out here on a new day, Championship Sunday. We talk about how important this first match is to get that Hardpoint out of the way and be like, guys, this is our worst game type right now in the tournament. We took it out, and let's go.
Yeah, and for me, talking about Luminosity, I think it's sort of an easy fix, because it comes down to the stars between Study and Saints, right? Spacely and Nimbus had a pretty solid series last night, versus Elevate. They weren't really the ones to sort of point out and say they were playing weak like we usually do, but, if Study and Saints can turn around, have a better series, they can win in dramatic fashion.
I feel like Spacely's been having a pretty good event. Every time we've kind of seen him on the stage, I feel like he hasn't really maybe got the credit he deserves. We're always kind of talking about those stars, but Spacely, Search and Destroy, planting bombs. I'm sure you guys on the analyst desk were very happy when you just pick up the bomb and just go straight, plant it, get the bomb down, etc. But in terms of Ban and Protect, obviously that's about to begin. Replays, anything we may see here? We have seen a couple of unusual, maybe unorthodox bans throughout the tournament, but in a game of this caliber, are you expecting either team to maybe push out of their comfort zone?
Maybe a little bit. I think if anything, we're going to see it out of the FaZe side of things. I feel like they've been using the Ban and Protect pretty well this event. they've been throwing some interesting strategies. Are we able to predict those? No, but I think if anything, we will see something a little bit different that's not that normal standard across-the-board ban there.
Yeah, for me, one thing that Luminosity did versus Infuse when they beat them in the winners bracket was they were protecting rapid fire. I don't know if that was to sort of counter the Infuse stock ban, but we
really
did
got under them.
Right.
Really annoyed them.
You know, I think we saw some games with FaZe having rapid fire. So,
yeah.
I mean, we've been seeing rapid fire and high caliber come through so much this event. Teams are trying to switch it up. So, you know, it could go through.
Shiva ban, that's something I expect to see Luminosity do. If you don't see that, is that a big concern for you there, do you think?
Not necessarily on map number 1, but the rest of them could definitely come into play.
Okay.
Yeah, Clay likes to use the weapon, Nameless does as well. The biggest thing touching on that rapid fire attachment is FaZe is a team that doesn't necessarily stack well into those close quarter situations. Yeah. That's something that could easily switch their gameplay up, make someone like Clay and Enable more comfortable in those closer environments with one single attachment. It should be a good plan for them if they decide to do it.
Yeah, and in terms of assault rifles, if you look at Elevate's strategy last night versus Luminosity, they were just challenging Nameless. Yeah. And if I'm Clay, I'm doing the same thing. Yeah. I'm getting rid of the automatic assault rifles. Get rid of the Man of War. Get rid of the HVK. Nameless is super comfortable with those. It sort of makes him a more diverse player. He can do different things because they're automatic. Yeah. Where Clayster's been using the M8, the Shiva, and using that L-car. So if I'm Clayster, I'm challenging Nameless to those long-range assault rifle duels.
Aqua outplayed Nameless pretty bad in the series last night. Their Ban and Protect was obviously targeted at Nameless, and they trusted in Aqua. You kind of have to do the same thing if you're FaZe. If you take a bet on which player is going to win that duel, you kind of have to take Clay, right?
And especially, you probably want to take Clay. And the thing is, the way I look at Nameless as a player, he's a good AR player, he's a slow AR player, but he's more of like a medium range. Like, that's where he kind of thrives with those automatic assault rifles. So if you get rid of those and you force those longer engagements with the M8 from the top broken building to the top AC building, you know what I'm saying? Across the map engagements for a player like Clay, I would definitely probably put my money on Clay for those. So that's definitely an interesting strategy that you can see used there too.
We talked a little bit about, of course, the rapid fire protect. Is that something that you think Luminosity may do against FaZe, or is that solely just because of the fear over stock?
I mean, I think it was a fear of stock, but if it worked well, why not use it? I know we talked about Spacey. I think he's sort of the X factor of this team. If he plays well, he has that experience. He has sort of that. He does take a pretty big leadership role in this team. He sets examples. So if Spacey does well, and gives Saints more tools, why not let him just light it up?
Speaking of Spacely, TB, I kind of want to get your opinions here. The key player matchup, if you had to pick one player from each side as to who is really going to influence this map number 1, which 2 players would you look at here?
Very tough to say. I guess I'd have to go with Clay. For Breach, the AR battle. So it's going to be like a Clay versus Nameless battle. But overall, on the LG side, I think Saints is the guy you have to go with.
Okay. You started off a little slow yesterday. We kind of touched on that. I mean, replays, how do you kind of reset your mindset as a professional player? If you do have one of those series where you kind of sit back and think, you know what, if I had played a little bit better, maybe we win. Coming in today, is he going to be a little relaxed, or will he still have a little bit of jitters?
I think it's a new day. I think he had a bad series. He's a professional player. He's very experienced. And that is, let's talk about this first. The fast hands, man. Pretty sure that came out of the side of FaZe.
It did,
and so we were just talking about how we think FaZe might pull out something crazy. A map like this, Breach, they know how aggressive Spacely and Saints are with submachine guns. They know that they like to sprint a lot. This could be something that can really throw them off.
But you have Zoom unattached on the other side. I don't know if this is going to be crazy, because I think Zoom unattached can do the same thing.
This scares me. This seems like a lack of confidence on a weaker game type. It's quite obvious that FaZe doesn't like this first hardpoint, and the fact that you're going to something like this, a crutch perk in fast hands that allows you to play such faster speed. I don't know. I don't like the mindset. It might work out for him, though.
Definitely that mindset could be something scary, but do you think they warmed up without fast hands and they planned this the night before?
It's got to be a plan.
Do you think they've practiced this in scrims before?
Yeah.
I mean, there could be so many things behind that ban, or it could be something where they're just scared because they're not that good at hardpoint. It's going to be something interesting to see when this plays out.
And I mean, I don't know, because I look at Nameless, right, and he's already a slow AR. I think this helps him out a lot, too. I think he's put in sort of those situations that he loves to be in. But getting into that specialist draft, I mean, you have the big 3 on the side of FaZe with Kinetic, Active Camo, and Heatwave, and then the other 3 plus a Scythe on the side of Luminosity.
Plays last draft. I mean, what are you expecting here? Replays?
Probably the Tempest.
Yeah, nothing.
I mean, we'll see, though.
Time's ticking. Tempest. Yeah. Shocker.
We saw that one. Literally shock.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Lightning.
We're really starting off Championship Sunday with that.
I love it.
That's the caliber of puns we have here on the analyst desk. Real quick, down the line, Teep, start with you. Predictions for map number 1?
I think FaZe has a solid plan going into this one. It's going to be close. FaZe 250 to 200.
Okay. Huh?
I think it's gonna be a dominant game from either side. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
I'll go with Luminosity.
You're going Luminosity?
I think it's going to be more of a dominant game on either side, too. I think with that plan, with that fast hands ban, I think I'm going to give it to FaZe because it seems like they have something up their sleeve, but I'm not sure. Because I don't know if TP was right about what he was saying, if that's more of a crutch or if that's more of a go-to strategy. So it'll be something.
We'll find out, right?
Exactly.
That's going to be everything from the analyst desk for match number 1. We can send it over to our wonderful casters. Over to you guys.
Thank you, Benjamin. Woo. All right, Jack, we're back together again. I love casting with you. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Excited for these matches. I love how right off the bat we see an interesting band coming out of FaZe. These guys, they want to throw Luminosity off. They want to get in their heads. Breach Hardpoint 2, map number 1, the analysts broke it down great. They said they know how LG like to play aggressively. So what do? You try to slow down the pace by getting rid of that perk 2. I don't even know where to take this series. These guys have grinded through matches all weekend, and now they find themselves on another championship Sunday. Everybody in the lobby is a veteran. Looking forward to getting this one started.
And it's interesting because you and I, we played together. We casted together this specific matchup in Anaheim. Remember, it goes 5 games. It was insane. One of the best series we've ever seen out of Study. I was going to start with Attach, but speaking of Study, I want to see what he can do off the rip. Let's see if LG can get off to a hot start.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the action. We're on board with Study off the break, using this submachine gun to kind of push right in towards this hard point. Obviously, these two teams, very slay heavy. It's what we saw with this Luminosity team, especially after adding on Study and Nameless. They're currently out to a 12-3 lead as they lock down this first hard point on Breach.
Study starting out 2-0 here. We'll see what he's able to do. They got a nice start off the first hard point. Might be able to find his third and fourth. One to the right. There it is. Not able to win the gunfight, but nice start from Study. Luminosity looking good thus far. We'll see if they can keep it going. And this is a team, FaZe, they were so good at hardpoint throughout the Stage 2 CW Online League, but then kind of faltered a little bit, specifically the Stage 2 final, losing 2 of those to DT. They started out slow here at Orlando as well. Let's see if they can get a nice start off here against Luminosity.
I can tell you right now, they know what people think of their team right now, right? People have been doubting them. It's simple as that. They haven't had the performances that match what they did in Advanced Warfare. It's been repeated so many times. Talk about a great opportunity to give themselves that boost of confidence going into a major event like Call of Duty XP. And this is a guy that needs to be a leader of his team. Attach, currently 4-3 off the break, leading his team in objective time as they push back towards the top middle. But right now, this game has been pretty well dominated by Luminosity.
Well, let's see if Enable can get rolling here, Jack. He started out 1-5, able to find one more before falling, swapping over to zooming out, looking for the break here in cages. He's flying in, slides in, able to find one, but more are there. It's going to be Saints starting out 8-4. On a 2 streak now as Luminosity starting to widen the gap a bit here. One pushing in, finding the kill, and it looks like we may have some issues here.
Yeah, I think we're receiving word from backstage. One of the players having to get in contact with the ref, get some things handled on out, but we should be able to hop right back in. Once they're all set, you can see the FaZe guys speaking to wonderful stage manager there.
Yeah, Paul. I know. I think beforehand, Enable was having some issues getting into the lobby, so I'm not sure if it's related to that, but we'll see what's going on, guys. Thank you for your patience. Want to kick off Championship Sunday with a bang here as soon as we can get everything figured out for the technical side, but okay, let's talk a little bit about it because it's worth mentioning. When you have something like this happen, right, and there's some sort of issue, and your Luminosity, who start off 65-20, you get a little bit of a hot start. Is this kind of like a, second chance kind of for FaZe to have a little bit of a better start here?
Well, it's got to be frustrating for LG. Every single player positive, right? They match FaZe's slaying it, not only match it, but they beat them out there in the first couple hard points. But things we did see, some interesting weapon choices between the players. Obviously, Breach, a map where you bring out that submachine gun. You can go with a 3-to-1 split, subs to ARs. You have one assault rifle player lock down the spawns at all times.
It's not an easy map to play with an AR.
Oh, not at all. And then you add in, though, that with fast hands out, if an AR is now sitting in the back of the map, just pre-aiming, those subs will have a much harder time just sprinting at them, getting their weapon up, immediately aiming down sights to engage that assault rifle player to fight for the spawns. We could talk all about what we saw right there, but if one player did have issues, we'll load back in, get the restart going, and immediately get back into the match.
All right, well, while we wait to get back into this one, guys, we are going to toss back to the analysis crew.
Raven. Thank you, Jack. Replays. I'm going to ask you this question to start things off here. Have you ever been in this situation before where you've had a little bit of you immediately
Playing against this guy.
Playing against this guy? All right. Talk me through the mindset of how it feels.
When we played against each other in UMG Dallas in Ghosts, remember we went up a stronghold hardpoint at like 30 points, and the game got ended, and you guys smoked us the next time and just absolutely destroyed us. Yeah. So personally, if I'm a player, this is the one thing that does put me on tilt really badly. I think that like getting a hot start, especially in a hardpoint, in any game mode, that first game mode, it's all about momentum, especially in Hardpoint. You get that lead, and you get those rotations. You can stay ahead of the game. You know what I'm saying? This is something that it's hard to come back from, in my opinion.
So in a way, TP, is this more beneficial for FaZe? I mean, obviously, it's a technical issue. It's nothing, nothing on purpose.
From my advice over the years, don't do the same break-off you just did. Players are going to adapt to whatever team got the short end of the stick off the start there. They're not going to go to the same spots or have the same timing. So if I'm LG, I don't want to say it's a bad thing. Just switch up your timings by a few seconds, but try and overall do the same thing off the rip.
Okay, obviously we didn't see much of the beginning of that game, Merc, but from what you did see, anything stand out? Was Fast Hands seeming to be a big effect for you, or not so much?
No, it looked like Luminosity was winning most of their gunfights, like I sort of figured they would. But I don't know if FaZe, it seemed like a ref was helping from the start. That's what I sort of heard, is that the ref was just sort of confirming that there was an issue. So the FaZe guys might have just been like sort of warming up. But you know, you just have to. If you're Luminosity, you can't get upset. You can't look. You just have to play, right? There's some things that are just out of your control. You can't deal with it. You
Obviously,
just have to.
it warranted a restart, right? Yeah. So it's not really something you can get that upset at.
Right. Replays. You look just tilted. No, I feel like you're having flashbacks.
I am, because I've been in that situation before, and like I said, after going up those 30 points on this guy right here,
crazy,
and then getting destroyed in the next map, it's like you go to, like you're saying, like, so it depends on the start. If they have a good start, I think they'll forget about it right away. It's just, in my opinion, when that happens, and then like say like FaZe gets out to like a 60-0 start or like a 60-20 start again, then you're like, then in the back of your head this entire time, you're just gonna be like, I was just up, like how unfair is this, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely gonna be something hard, but if you're a player, my personal experience, it's hard for me to get over something like this, but you have to stay level-headed, and you have to be like, all right, there's no excuses, we're not making anything right now, we're gonna give it our all and just keep taking this map.
In your opinion, is that something that you think maybe Luminosity may kind of feel like? Are they a team who, I don't want to say go on tilt over something like that, but are they a team that's going to be affected by that? I mean,
I think so. I think you just saw the emotions from them right at the game end. They
basically looked pretty mad, yeah.
Basically looked mad, but again, there's nothing these players can control. There's just some things they just get over. It's Championship Sunday.
That could be a very interesting beginning to this first match once it officially will be restarted. I believe it has been restarted.
At least it happened on the first hill. Happened on the first hill,
That's
right?
It wasn't. It could have been a lot worse, and it could have been like even if they got a bigger lead, like in a couple of those hills, then it could have been something different. So yeah.
Well, the game has actually begun, so we can send it back over to our casters to give us all the information from game number 1.
Thank you, gentlemen. Here we go. Re-kicking off Championship Sunday. We're going to start things off with FaZe Zuma this time around. We'll see what he can do off the break.
He'll go ahead and plug right towards this hardpoint. So as we saw in the first run through this hill, LG did a great job of not only breaking in, but locking it down with their ARs near the top AC part of the map. They have a player set up there now. They get 3 kills, and immediately it's the same break. It's the same scenario as the first run through.
We'll get on with Saints here, starting off hot 3-0, getting stuff done in the hardpoint as well. Simtex coming in, shots coming in, somehow staying alive. It does end up falling. That was 2 down in for LG. But things looking a little bit better for FaZe at least. LG kind of blew the gates off it, opening things up. A little bit of luck for them. At least we get the replay here for game 1.
Now I want to see how these players do begin this rotation this map, because with Fast Hands out, I'm beginning to question, will Submachine Guns change up their gameplay at all? It does look like FaZe do go for a 4-hit towards Pals. They're going to bring this towards the lower side of the map. Nice job at least stopping Saints from watching those cutoffs. Namel's still with the AR in the backside. He gets traded. Clayster, this is a position he has to hold as FaZe set up for this Cage's Hill.
And when I was actually on with the Dable, I saw he had gun ho. We don't see that very often. You got to think that's partially to do with the fact we're not going to have fast hands, leads to maybe a little bit more variety we're going to see here. But basically, right now, a tie game. Clayster looking hot, able to hit one shot. Now going to try and break in with the L-car. Shots on point, finds the second kill, looking for the third. You see the blue outlines. They're all coming in. Clayster currently shredding on a 3 streak, trying to buy the 4th, not able to do so, but attaches there for the trade.
Beautiful stuff from FaZe as they push right through. It was led by Cler. And the reason why that wound up working out is because every player that came off spawn, they had a couple spawn down by Palace, one in the back side of the map. They didn't have a full 4-man force. FaZe with the break, and now they'll lock down the scrap time. They're also going to already pressure towards Palace. This is a great scenario to find.
And this is basically the opposite start score-wise that we saw from before the replay. And Zuma, you know, he's taking a little bit of flack, maybe being responsible for some of the issues, maybe with FaZe's results, has had some hit or miss events, but right now starting out great, he's going to be 10-3. But we will watch the young phenom attach as he looks to break into Palace, able to win one-on-one. He has Heatwave to pop as well if needed. Luminosity trying to rack up some time, waiting for his health back. Now he's going to challenge, finds one, pops the Heatwave, tries to get to the edge, not able to do so. That's basically inside, finding the kills.
Yeah, it's basically a waste of a Heatwave right there, as there was no FaZe player to follow up. Now Spacely answers with a Heatwave of his own, also using the laser sight here, which I am a big fan of. You mentioned how Gung Ho was brought out. Now the laser sight, a lot of it focused around hip firing. Instead of having to try to get that weapon up immediately center after sprinting, just hope that maybe if you hip fire, you get lucky with some bullets. Spacely continuing to stay alive. A solid start from him, which we've always mentioned. He's one of the guys that can have hit or miss games in Hardpoint.
Well, they're looking at almost getting a full 60. What has LG done right here? Obviously, they were trailing early. Was it just the early rotation, or did they do something else that stood out?
The number one thing is they not only rotated early, they got the kills they needed on rotation, and then the tools that FaZe had to go for the retake of the site, the specialist of Zuma, as well as Attach, they were both wasted. They did nothing for FaZe. So once LG shut those down, they knew, hey, this is our hill to lock down. This is our hill to get the full 60 on, and it's exactly what they do.
All right, well, now they're going to have to get the break, as it was the opposite with FaZe getting the early setup. You see Attach and Zuma inside trying to fight, able to find one. He has the camera to work with as well, but there's still, I thought there was still one in. Oh, his teammate was able to clean that up. So they are going to get the break. Study on a 3 streak now. They've got a 10-point advantage now. LG looking to rally. Flying out his Study. Popping the camo as well. Looking for the second. Able to find it. He's only 100 off the servers. Can he find one more kill? Trying to get the wall bang up top. Saw him for a second. There's the gunfight and full streaks here for Study.
And this is exactly what LG need, right? They need Study to have a monster championship Sunday. The name he's kind of rebuilt for himself on this LG squad has been brilliant. And he's looking solid off the break, a 6 streak. Now fully streaked out, I think Cerberus probably winds up coming into play towards that top middle hard point. You play through lab, you go for whatever time you get as LG, then you call the Cerberus, the Hellstorm, the Lightning near middle map. He will elect to call in one. They want to play for those spawns. Let's see if it works out for LG here.
And you just saw a gunfight that I think looks really good for LG. If you see Nameless winning those one-on-ones against Cler as he gets lit up with the Tempest, that is a good sign for you when he can get it done with the M8, but still a little bit juice left in the tank. Trying to snap on, not able to do so. Swaps to the L car, and there is the kill. Catches Study without gun up as Cler continues to look strong. Now on a 3 streak, looking for the 4th out right side of lab. There it is. The one pop, the one bang coming in strong as FaZe looks to bounce back, but LG still enjoying a 30-point advantage.
I'm loving what I'm seeing from these two teams. Everybody so evenly matched. Zuma, 1 minute and 20 seconds inside the hard point already for FaZe. The 50-second lead that was for LG, now down to just 15. And every sign right now that I'm seeing on this mini-map points towards FaZe nearly getting the full 60 on this hard point.
Yeah, it should be basically a tie game as we come out of this, but Luminosity does get the break late. Cler was able to get the dart, but not really extend anything else streak-wise. Study actually uses everything there at lab and doesn't result in a whole lot of it. As you saw, FaZe got a good 40 to 60.
But I will say, they rotate towards top middle. They have 2 players switch over to trophies. Cerberus now down. They're putting a lot of resources into this hard point, and I think it's because they know a Cerberus is a great tool to not only kind of hold that middle hill, but also watch all the different angles players can push from. It's like having a 5th man on the map. Expect LG to have a solid top middle hard point.
Well, now look at you have a combined, 8-9 streak now coming out from the side of Luminosity. Cler has the dart out, but still trying to find kills. The Saints got to be caught without gun up. But the rest of the team still holding on strong. It's Spacely inside, able to win one, not able to pop the Heatwave in time to deal with it. Study's top AC with the sub. He's going to have to push up close and personal. But Cler locking it down with the L-car. Cler ends up picking up 2, unable there to trade it out, and FaZe will hold on. But during all of this, Luminosity's still been enjoying a 20 to 30-point advantage.
They split the hard point. The Cerberus now gone, so that really wasn't too big of an impact. The big thing here on rotation, LG in control, Heatwave used as well. This is where Luminosity can now take what could be their biggest lead of the game. They just need to hold these spawns. The backside of the map, it's Nameless. The AR for this team who was been so consistent, but Clayster wins the one-on-one, and look at your mini-map. Luminosity spawning all the way out bottom palace. Clayster needs to stay alive. And
Clayster just dropped, but the break is going to come in. The heat wave coming in from attach to be able to find the kill, and they will get the break. So Clay making enough of a presence in the back, spawning out a couple of players, ends up coming up huge, and that's the break that FaZe needed. If they can get the rest of the time here right back in it, only going to be trailing by 10 points or so, going to have a great chance here to get the swing.
There have been some scenarios where you're thinking, oh, there's no way LG can give up this hardpoint, and then next thing you know, a couple 1v1s just get lost by the assault rifle players, and instead of it being a 30, 40-second hardpoint for LG, FaZe get a scenario like this. It's 3 kills on rotation. The comeback is happening before our eyes.
Look at the streak you now have coming out of FaZe. Let's see if Enable in transition can find some kills top middle. Saw one, I believe, to his left. I guess he did not spot him, but it's Clayster. Let's go to him. 5 streak. Look how close he is to getting a Tempest up yet again, and 150 off of that dart. Can he make the play he needs to? He's going to wrap back. He's going to have an M8 in a strong position to deal with 2. It's going to be Spacely and Saints coming forward. There's 1, not able to win it. That's going to open up things for the opposition to come through. You also have Zuma on a 5 streak. FaZe going off when it matters, and they're now up 15.
But here's the thing. FaZe know they're not being pushed from top middle. They know they're not being pushed from back couches. All 4 players watching 1 door in the outer wall run. This is going to favor FaZe in every single scenario. They now have a 30-second lead. It's all 1v1s being won. They are turning up in the second half of this game, and it was led by Clayster's 6 streak earlier. You hear the Tempest again. A near flawless hardpoint hold. Zuma for the help. FaZe now up by 40+ seconds.
And let's go to Zuma, because he's the early rotator here. He might be able to disrupt the early rotation from Luminosity, and he does it. Those 2 are huge. There's a 3rd. He's got Camel to work with, going to push him in the corner, not able to win it, as they will flood in. But those are 2 big kills to open up things for the rest of the FaZe side. Kinetic Armor now going to be popped. Really provides nothing. There's only 1 player left here. It's going to be Clayster. If Luminosity can get a strong hold, they actually have a chance to take the lead.
You saw when Enable went to go push him with Kinetic Armor right there. If he has fast hands, that's an engagement that he wants to play.
Yeah.
No fast hands, the pre-aiming submachine gun gets the better of him.
And like, would you be prepared for that if you played without it from time to time? Sure, but these guys never play without fast hands, and they're the ones that end up banning it out. The L-Car looking strong for Nameless, but not able to find the second. Luminosity trying to get the tie, trying to hold on, and with them spawning out, look at the rotation out. FaZe has to give it up. This is going to be Luminosity's hold, but FaZe will be set up early.
The score looking to be about 240 to 233, but look at your mini-map. Nobody is on this lab side of the map. You've got Zuma. His job, hold the middle lane. Unfortunately, he gets swarmed by 3 players of LG. And little does Clayster know there's nobody on his side of the map. LG, they have a few seconds to go for a major pitch. It's 240 to 240.
Here comes the pinch. Can they hold on? Zuma trying to get one in the back, but that's going to be Heat Wave coming in from Spacely, trying to turn it. Burns the Enable, finds 1, can't find 2. Clayster still in, able to trade it out. They're picking up the kills, and there's FaZe Clan getting the win in game 1. Clay's on his feet.
I heard Clayster begin to scream once he went on that 6 streak. He was the one that banned out fast hands, and in the end, it was a little bit closer than they would have wanted, but it works out. Even in the final kill cam, Hardwired, the only perk 2. Rarely do you ever see that. And what a way to kick off Championship Sunday here at MLG Orlando.
And it was really, I mean, yes, Clay, but it was that stretch where I think you had about a 14 streak for the side of FaZe. Kind of everybody got rolling. You had, I believe, a 4 streak, a 5 streak, and a 6 streak up from that side. 3 out of the 4 players at the course that when I believe you were in Palace. And that's when they really start going, came alive in a big way. FaZe able to seal the deal there in game 1.
It's awesome to see. So much more to look forward to in this series. I think this is one that's definitely going to go the distance.
It certainly will if it's anything like it was in Anaheim. But to break down that game 1 hardpoint on Breach, let's toss it back to Vince and the boys.
I love Championship Sunday. What a way to start, 250 to 240. A couple of things that I want to address immediately in MSU replays. You were the one that kind of talked about it before the map. The effect of maybe the restart affecting Luminosity. I mean, it was a 40-point lead?
Yeah.
I mean, how big of a factor do you think that played?
Definitely, it didn't play that much of a factor. I mean, it's definitely something, like I said, as a player for me, it's just something that it's hard to get over, especially when I think it was 68 to 68 at a point when it was Luminosity FaZe on that second restart, when it was 65 to 20. So in Luminosity's head, you have to sit there and be thinking it's like, that sucks, because we probably could have chipped away at the lead a little bit more, and if we played as well, we might have won, because that was such a close game. But you got to get over it now. You got to move on to the next map.
It's just like,
I mean, they still had the lead early on. They did. But the big thing to me, they were talking about Clayster, but the big thing to me was Enable. Like, at one point, he was double negative with 0 seconds in the hill. He ends the game right around even with around 2 minutes. that's what you want to see from, that third SMG, the second SMG. Right. You need him to help around the hill. You need him to help that pressure with Zuma and attach.
Speaking of time on the hill, Spacely, over 3 minutes. You think about that, that's over 180 points. He's pretty much, by himself accumulated for the team. That's a lot of time, TP. I mean, where is the help?
It sounds weird that I'm saying he's getting too much hill time, but it's all about a rotation in Hardpoint. Whoever's furthest up on the map needs to be pushing out and applying pressure on the other team in order to net more time. To me, that's too much of a passive play style. I'm all about that objective time. Don't get me wrong. It's something that I've thrived at. But it's all a rotation. You need to be the guy at times that does initiate gunfights and introing into situations. I don't know if they were doing that correct.
Right, there's just a time, especially like we were talking about it sort of, past few days when you do have to play a little selfish as a player. Like you can't put too much pressure on yourself to do a job and do so much of it. 180 seconds, that's a long time.
That's a lot.
I mean, Breach is one of those maps where you can just get stuck in the hill if your team's holding it, but I mean, it just seemed like he was putting a lot of pressure on himself to get that work done. And you look at players on his team like Nameless, who. This is what we're talking about. That AR duel, he finished like around -10. You need to see more from him for this series.
In terms of fast hands, did you see a massive effect there, or is that something you may see FaZe do again in Respawn's?
I mean, you might see him do it again because it worked, but I don't really think it played so much of an effect.
For me, I think it helped Zuma a lot. You saw him sort of take over in that game. So what Fast Hands does is you can't sprint into gunfights. What the perk does itself is that your pull-up time on the weapon is quicker. It forces Zuma to take a second and be like, oh, shoot, I need to pre-aim into this situation. Something he struggles with at times because he plays at such a darn quick pace. I think it helped him out quite a bit.
Yeah, no, the reason why I said it didn't help as much is like I thought it would. I thought it would have helped out a lot more. I feel like it didn't really affect as much as the gun skill shooting wise. I think Luminosity just didn't play as a team. Like I said, we were going back to the 3 minutes of space. Like I feel like a lot of the times, like you see FaZe, they had I think 2 or 3 guys with over a minute in the hill, some with like 2 minutes. They had a lot more teamwork oriented where they were rotating in the hill. I think Luminosity just kind of lacked on the rotations of actually getting in the hill as a team, and then he pushing out, and then this guy pushing out, and this guy in the hill. So I feel like it helped, but it wasn't as much of a factor as I thought it was going to be.
Fair enough. A little bit deja vu as well from MLG Anaheim when you think about it. Very, very close first Hardpoint. FaZe kind of just stealing it at the very end. Definitely excited going into map number 2. And speaking of map number 2, key player matchup for me has to obviously be the 2 snipers that we're expecting to see, Cler and of course Study. Those 2 went at it at Anaheim. Merc, are you expecting to see something similar again in this first Search and Destroy?
I hope not, because Cler got dominated in that battle. I hope he just sticks with his Shiva, what he's been using in Search and Destroy, and been playing so well, like he's been dominating with that Shiva, this Search and Destroy. Study was just like, picking him off, and we saw sort of over challenges.
But if Cler doesn't snipe TP and Study has kind of free reign, how much of a negative effect is that for FaZe?
The biggest thing I saw when these 2 matched up at Anaheim is FaZe was so confident in re-peeking Study. He would miss that initial shot, and most of the picks that Study was able to get was his 3rd or 4th peek on a player. FaZe needs to chill out a little bit, is my best advice.
I think you made Clay pretty mad when you say that, by the way. He stood up and looked right at you. He looked right at you. I think you just lit the fire a little bit. But honestly,
I'm just saying it was dumb. It was dumb to re-peek him like 7 times. Just saying.
I mean,
It was. He can get mad all he wants. Just don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. I think if I'm FaZe after playing that map on Anaheim, I know they've struggled a little bit in this map before in the past. I feel like they don't really want to snipe on Stronghold. I feel like you can run away from a sniper so easily. Like if you have Study sniping, or if you have a player sniping, just play in the mansion and make him run around with the pistol. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just very simple to avoid that. I don't think you have to really match a sniper on sniper fight in this game. I think if you play it the right way, you can get around it. So in my opinion, I'd probably rather see no snipers out of FaZe and let Study kind of roam around and be useless for a little bit. But it's going to be very interesting to see, because you saw at Anaheim all those repeats and what happened. I think hopefully they learned a lesson.
Could we maybe see FaZe try and nullify the sniper rifle altogether in the bat and protect process, Merc, or do you think they're not even going to bother wasting it?
Maybe you take away the thermal from Study. We sort of saw that sort of worked. The Varrics, some players aren't as comfortable. You saw Formal miss some shots. They looked like they were connecting. They weren't. So maybe players just not used to that sight. A lot of guys just love the thermal and like the different sort of variances you can use in them. So maybe you take that away, and maybe they use some smoke strats. We saw that last night where they were trying to isolate the sniper away. So you know, I'm sure FaZe has some tricks up their sleeve. They look like they've been doing some different things this entire tournament.
I feel like Study is one of those snipers, though. It's very hard to kind of shut down. I mean, we saw it yesterday. A couple of bans came in. The Locust ban came in. The SVG ban came in. He ended up running the PO6. I can't think of a time all year where I've seen him run the PO6, but he seemed very efficient with it. I feel like TP is just one of those players where, you know, if he's going to have a sniper in his hand, he's most likely going to hit you.
There's snow on this map, but it's not infection. The line of sights are extremely different. When on either side, you can play a certain way to basically nullify a sniper completely. Okay. Whether it's smokes, whether it's just going to a specific route to a bomb site, not giving him any decent line of sight. If you're able to just completely shut him down, eventually that guy has to go and trade with his teammates. And if overkill isn't in, he's going to have a pistol. You should have the advantage in those sort of situations. Make him a non-factor.
Study take a step away. I think he's going to quickly run to the restroom. I believe there may be a slight technical delay on the main stage. But whilst we wait for him to return, we just have a fantastic breakdown from Study himself.
Study is the best in the world right now.
Study is not missing.
Are you kidding me, Study?
By MVP of the match.
It all started in Grandma's Hill. I wanted to help my teammates, and me being on the right side was like not helping my teammates at all. So my teammates die. I walked in from the bottom of the house, and then Clay jumps in from the front window. I missed all my bullets with a submachine gun. Switched to my AR, I kill Clay. I immediately turned around and shot at the front window, and Attach just jumped in, and it looked so sick.
One of the most exciting plays from the Anaheim Open came from Study when he picked up the 180 double kill.
Hardpoint here to try and make plays on X-Ray. He's got some pushing in. Finds the BMP. The shot's off, but the M8's better. Able to pick that up, and there's a second. Turning and burning.
And Study's gonna get them both, the 180 double kill.
I don't know how I played like the way that I played. People were telling me like, yo, this is the old Study. I'm like, this is not the old Study. This is a brand new guy. This guy's a sick freak.
With plays like that out of Study, there is no stopping Luminosity.
And Luminosity has done it behind a mind-blowing performance from Study.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Just touching on Study himself, you've obviously teamed with him on a big stage. You've teamed with him as well. I don't think you ever teamed with him.
A little bit.
Just a very small amount?
A little bit at the end.
Okay, very, very small amount. What's it like, Merc, playing with such an explosive player?
Well, when he talks about sort of that old Study versus this new beast, sick freak, as he says, the old Study, I think people talk about like 2014 Ghosts, Champs especially. He was a beast at Search and Destroy, but people forget that he was
pony,
awful at Respawn. Like, terrible. Like, I love the kid, and we got second place at Champs, but he was not playing well at Respawn. He's developed into a much more, efficient player in every single game mode.
A little bit more well-rounded, I think
absolutely.
it's fair to say. But in Search and Destroy, what does he really bring to the table replays? Is it a noticeable effect?
Yeah, I remember playing with him a lot of the times. Like, he's one of those guys on your team. It's nice when, like, if you have a team that's oriented off of rushes, like, you're gonna rush something every time. Like, if you want to be able to slow it down, he's the guy to have on your team. He's very good at getting a first blood. He's like, if he calls out the slow, he's like, let me get a pick. 9 out of 10 times, he will get you that pick. There's been so many times when I was teaming with him back in Ghost where it's like, we would play like a Warhawk S&D in Ghost. Yeah. He'd be like, guys, slow it down, and trust me, I'm going to get a kill. So I would just kind of hold the bomb, just like I always do, run in there, camp the corner, and just wait, and then all of a sudden, bang, he gets the kill. So he's definitely something that he opens up the map for you in Search and Destroy.
He's had a little bit of an interesting career, though, when you think about it, right? Because he had that fantastic year when we talk about Call of Duty Ghosts, second place at COD Champs, and you're thinking, okay, wow, this is unbelievable. But then kind of had a bit of a rough patch, I think it's fair to say, last year, and he's kind of back up there-ish, I think it's fair to say, this year. Would you kind of agree with that?
Yeah, he's bounced back really well, largely due to teaming back with my boy Joey DeLuca, bringing him back to the top. Like, they had a really good run on Liquid, and that's when his sort of stock in the community came back up. Him and Apathy were lighting up the scoreboards a lot of the time, and with the weird sort of stuff that happened at relegation, that's what sort of led to the teams that are here now.
I mean, Study, he was just young. I mean, like last year, especially in Ghosts, he broke a lot of ties. Like, he was just very immature. He, wouldn't show up for practice. I mean, you and I, we sort of both dropped him off our teams after, playing very well in Ghosts because he just wasn't a mature enough player to be playing with the best. And I think last year he sort of realized what he needed to do. And it did take some time. It took some transition, but he's finally where he needs to be.
Definitely.
Good to
Here, of course, we look forward to potentially watching a young rising star in our community grow, and he's put himself in a very good place, that's for sure. But once again, just to go back to this game, in terms of your overall kind of expectations heading into map number 2 replays, what are you currently thinking? It's tough. I imagine.
What am I thinking? I don't know. I feel as if FaZe has been playing probably good S&D this event. I know this is definitely a tough map for them. I know I've talked to them before about it, so it's definitely something that they're struggling on. Last time they played it, Luminosity took it, so I'm definitely giving the edge to Luminosity here. I feel like if I'm Luminosity, I'm pretty confident after the last time they played it. So,
talking a little bit about the last time they played Teep, is there any kind of noticeable areas that you saw, oh, Luminosity, they outplayed them in a certain play? Like, is it, for example, every time they stacked Mansion, it seemed like FaZe couldn't compete? Anything along those lines that you expect to re-see this time around?
In my opinion, from what we saw in the last time, is FaZe was playing actually too slow on defense. I'm a huge advocate of exerting pressure on the map on defense, whether it's middle, whether it's towards rocks. Don't give the team the entire middle of the map to get to top mansion, bottom mansion, B-bomb, things like that.
And we saw that yesterday in the Optic Rise match. Rise kind of just sat in the back of their base and was like watching the crosses to the B-bomb site. It's like, yeah, they crossed to the B-bomb site. Now they have head spots on the B-bomb site. What are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? You can't. Yeah, it's nice to know that they're there, but you have to be able to get them off. So we saw that what happens when you play too slow on this map, and a lot of teams tend to do it, is you give a team map control and they'll just take advantage of it.
I just think it's important that there are some times you do have to play that way,
Yes. Yeah.
If you get a pick, back up, play that mansion, play around the bomb sites. You sort of saw last night, Rise tried pushing out towards rocks. It didn't really work. And then when they would sit back, they would allow Crim to hit the bunker. You have to make sure if you're going to play that way, you at least hit that first pick and you can watch all those angles, because the offensive team is going to have to make a move.
Once again, I believe the Man and Protect is actually about to begin. Teep, anything at all that you could see maybe creep through here? I mean, I feel like we touched on the Shiva. I feel like that's kind of like maybe a go-to, maybe in the later maps as well. But anything specific you're looking out for?
I would expect something from FaZe. LG is very, very normal in the Ban and Protect, so don't expect anything too crazy from them.
You don't think maybe they might adapt to something crazy? I mean, we saw yesterday against Infuse, they protected Rapid Fire. You don't think anything like that?
From my experience this team with those guys, they like the straight up gameplay.
Yeah, I've seen with Saints multiple times. He's a very standard guy. He wants to play like just a normal way of the way like Money 8s are played. He just wants to play the normal Ban and Protects. He's not someone that will go ahead and ban fast hands. He's very against stuff like that. He just wants to play a normal game of Call of Duty.
Well, I think maybe FaZe is playing mind games now. Maybe they think Luminosity is going to just protect fast hands, and that allows them to sort of use more picks in their favor, right? Like, if I'm Luminosity, I mean, it was a close game, but I want to be as comfortable as possible, so maybe FaZe knows they'll waste a protect on that perk.
I think we'll see that, Teep? A protect to fast hands? Is that almost kind of too extreme? Because I mean, you're kind of right. I mean,
I would expect that in the next respawn maybe, but
I mean, they're
there's the SVG, Locust. Okay, they're targeting snipers. Shiva's out as well.
Okay, so kind of what we expect a little bit.
But FaZe bans the Shiva. It's a FaZe ban.
Instead of Overkill?
I don't know if I agree with that. Maybe maybe Clayster's gonna use the PO6.
Yeah, but
I mean, he was a bit annoyed when you said that he kind of got a little bit outplayed for a second. Maybe he's like, I'm gonna prove you wrong.
He stood up and looked right at you.
Yeah, it was like one of those Clay death stares.
I would have stared back at him.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting ban out of FaZe. I mean, the Shiva's definitely going into their hands pretty well, but I guess they have something up their sleeve. They didn't let us down in the breach. They ended up taking the map, so we'll definitely see.
Yeah, and I just think FaZe is taking a page out of Elevate's notebook.
Yeah, I think they did their research.
Taking away that Locust and that SVG away from Study. Just not even worry about that sniper rifle.
Looks like they did their research. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. We'll take a look at the specialist draft now, however, and I imagine we've been saying this pretty much all weekend long. Pretty basic stuff. I mean, Psychosis comes immediately out of Enable. We've talked about that pretty extensively.
I mean, Psychosis on this map, you can send them up the middle, I guess, on a B plant. Maybe you can distract them, get to the B bomb, get it down. But
I like the Psychosis in the mansion. The bots sort of just running up the stairs.
You want to send them like through the bottom or something.
Yeah, they can go all throughout that mansion, and they make noise when they.
And once again, no kinetic from FaZe.
So I mean, it seems like a repeating thing for FaZe. Maybe they just don't like kinetic. They don't have the confidence to get a kinetic. They like using Psychosis. Maybe they want to use the bait and switch tactic with the Psychosis. You get it more than once, so it's definitely something where that's probably their philosophy on it. I don't really know what the correct philosophy is, because you can go either way. Do you like those Psychosis bots can win you a game potentially? I just feel like kinetic armor is a little bit more important in my opinion.
But we've been talking, right? The kinetic's at risk. You can either get it or you don't, and we've seen
we saw a couple teams
where they don't get it. So maybe they just don't want to do that.
From what I've seen throughout this entire tournament, Teams don't set their foot down. They don't close out maps or series very well. I like having that dagger. If you're doing well, it gets you that kinetic, and that's it. You should be able to close out a round easily with a kinetic armor specialist. So that's something that, in my personal preference, would love to have. But I get it.
Fair enough. That's going to be everything from the analyst test, though, on their thoughts going into map number 2. We can send it over to our wonderful casters for the match.
All right, thank you, Ben. Here we go. Time for map 2. Thank you guys for your patience. It was Jack and I's fault. We had some audio issues. We're ready to go now.
We are ready to go. I think we're all good on our end. Getting this game 2 started, I will say, FaZe, they are no strangers to how close these hard points have been. I've seen
the whole weekend.
I think I've seen 5 or 6 now where they've been 250 to 235 plus on either end of it, whether it's a win or loss. I think Cole last night beat him, 250 to 247?
Wasn't it, I believe it was Fringe Hardpoint at Anaheim when these two teams played? That was when you and I cast. It was like a 250, 245 game down to the wire. Absolutely insane. But we'll see. I mean, they needed one hell of a performance from Study then. We'll see what they're able to do here. But I do think one player from LG may not have loaded in, so we'll see what the call is going to be.
Let them play 3v4.
Yeah, 3v4, that'll be fine.
Right. I mean,
to be fair, we did see a 3v4 victory in Search and Destroy during stage 2.
You know, I was going to say, they did really target ban Study in that ban and protect, but I didn't think they banned him out of the game.
Yes, knocked him right out.
No. So we will get a quick restart on that one. We'll have all the same bans and protects, and they have their classes sets. This one should be a really swift turnaround. But let's talk about the sniper bans because we already see back in game 1, FaZe had a targeted idea of what they wanted to do. That's get rid of fast hands on a map like Breach Hardpoint. Now in map 2, it's all focused at Study because we've seen Cler and some of the top ARs in the game this weekend look great with the Shiva, but they ban it last to get it out of Study's hands. And then you mentioned the Locust and SVG. 3 of the 4 bans they go after right towards Study, wanting to make sure they can kind of neutralize them as much as possible.
Well, if we're going to see Overkill makes it through, obviously. Yes. They were a little bit surprised in the analysis desk about the Shiva ban. With having Overkill in, is the biggest benefiter here going to be attached because he can be so deadly with the PO6?
The issue is right now is that everything else is still in as well. And when I say that, I mean grenades, lethals, and tacticals both available. So you've got to be worried about those affecting you. Now, if you go ahead and use Overkill, you're using another wild card, which is going to wind up having another weapon, which will be another point. Then you think about the fact that you typically want to put at least one attachment on that secondary gun. So you don't have tac mask on, maybe. You don't have flak jacket. Grenades are so useful on Stronghold Search and Destroy, especially towards that B site where a lot of snipers like to go. So at this point, you're so used to playing without Overkill. I mean, maybe on this map, you go ahead and just not even use it.
Is this something where, I'm trying to think of somebody I see run 5 perks a lot in S&D. Havoc comes to mind. You see him do it all the time. Are you looking to have tac and flak on? I mean, have like a 5 perk class you're kind of looking at most of the time, or just have those extra classes just in case? Wait to see what the team does early on.
I think that's the big thing. Wait to see what the team does early on. Adapt if needed. Maybe just have one player rocking those trophy systems who kind of, all right, I'll protect you on the B site. I'll throw one down near bottom mansion. And then I'll just play my life, watch our bunker flank, something like that. Either way, you heard Reap talking about how this FaZe Clan team has performed on Stronghold Search and Destroy. My eyes are going to be on them. Can they keep their S&D in the top-notch form we've seen so far this weekend from them? On a map
what was Replay saying? Was it breakfast he was talking about? He was saying they haven't won it?
Yes, it's been one that they have not
really
done pretty well on in the past in stage 2. We appreciate the patience with the few hiccups we've had so far, but I'm excited to get this game 2 underway. It's Luminosity up against FaZe, and we're watching Study off the break.
See what he is able to do early. We talked about who might be pulling out the sniper with Overkill. It looks like it is going to be Study early on. I checked attach at the very beginning of this one. Didn't have really anything going outside of the VMP. Now, the one thing to take a look at, if we check kind of bunker side of the map, you can, okay, look at this. Actually, so you have Nameless as well. I'm going to go through everybody real quick. So let's take a look at Saints. Just VMP. You have Overkill for Nameless and Study. So just be those two.
That's the thing I did want to point out is FaZe on this defensive side, which doesn't surprise me, running multiple trophy system classes. They want to make sure that those grenades from LG can't affect them too much. We're still watching Nameless as he's looking for that first blood. Kills now being traded near the mansion side. You see Clay just kind of baiting him out. Zuma now getting 2. That submachine gun so lethal in bottom mansion.
They're looking good now, but you're not in as bad of a spot. So without Overkill here, if you had a 2v3 with a sniper in hand of one of your players, this would be a very, very tough position to be in. Not so much, but he's still going to get gunned there. Pace looking good early. Now it's all on Saints. Can he get the 1v3 done?
Zuma nearly has the ace. It's Saints now. If he's going to win this round, he needs an ace of his own. Unfortunately, he has been spotted and eliminated. FaZe Clan with the first round of game 2.
They're able to get things going early. I mean, he didn't see the snipers do a whole lot of anything, right? They're going to have 2 of them there. You're looking for somebody to be able to get a pick, not what you're able to find. What do you think needs to change, or you give that maybe another chance on the defensive end?
I give that more of FaZe doing a good job of making sure they don't expose themselves. They have 3 players stacked mansion. Clay with trophy systems. He's in charge of watching the B site. He peeks for a second, immediately goes back into cover. Doesn't get cocky, doesn't try to use that great AR shot he has. Instead, knows his life is the most important thing, and he lets a player like Zuma take command of the round.
And with that sort of build-up kind of charge shot to the PO6, you gotta think it's a little bit easier to sort of peek that, right, than it is to peek an SVG or a Locust. So Clay knows what he's doing. But first blood, gonna be going to Luminosity, now gonna be a 3v4 on the attack side here for FaZe. What do you expect them to do in a position like this? I know you play a lot of search and destroy. When you're down a man on attack, on Stronghold, how do you try to play this?
Well, I think this is an example of maybe a round that Zuma didn't play the best, and that's because he just flew middle map without an ability to trade. Typically, you want to have an AR follow you up. As Zuma goes to top mansion, if he gets shot at, the AR can immediately trade the kill, make sure that if it's a 3v3 on offense, that works out for FaZe. Instead, it's Zuma getting first blooded. Spacely now with eyes on attach. FaZe, they realize they're in a tough spot this round. Now Saints playing bottom edge, and this is looking quite grim.
Yeah, not a man of war you want to challenge. The guy I'm keeping highlighted for now is the 6 on your minimap. That's going to be Cler, who's eventually going to come in from behind. He might be able to get a flank and find a couple kills. Should have Study here in just a moment there. Study able to find it. Tries to find one. Now it's going to be a 2v3 yet again. Are they going to be able to make the plays? It's going to be a concussion out from Cler. No hit marker. Bomb down on site.
He's going to go ahead and try to get this objective down. Attached, can't watch both angles though. 1 versus 3, Spacely with the 2-piece.
With the time, that's almost impossible, right?
Yep, and you saw Nameless, he was still rocking that sniper setup across the map. When Cler throws that stun, there's no tac mask up. Unfortunately, there was only 17 seconds left. Cler actually couldn't follow that up. And it's just a nice job by Spacely to recognize the most important area I need to be is middle map. He reads it the right way, and now Luminosity will tie this game up 1-1.
And you find yourself in that position so many times in this map, because a lot of times it takes 45, 60 seconds for the round to even get going. 100%. It feels like you're waiting for a pick for so long. You find yourself in those narrow situations with 15 to 20 on the clock. But now it's tied up 1-1. Let's get back to LG on the offensive side of things. Let's check through and just really get an idea on what the classes are going to be. Looks to be a little bit more perk heavy. We talked about the fact you probably see some 5 perk classes here. Prone is Cler, and there's the first blood. He's able to get it done. But let's get back to mid-map. Bomb has now been planted. He's going to be tagged up. Going to be a 2v4. All of a sudden, Nameless now by himself. Has to make the play. Going to be able to flank behind one. Finds attached. Can he find more? Has a snipe as well. Can he get another pick? This would be huge. One comes across, not able to tag him. Now the pressure going to come in, tries to find another. Missing the shots, but still not easy play. There it is. Now it's going to be a 1v2. Flashbang out, goes over the top. If he hits that, he's really got a chance.
Here's the issue. Still nothing on the bomb. 1v1, yes. So
gets
that whole time,
gets it.
That whole time, you saw the defuse coming in. Cler just playing his life. If Nameless maybe hits one of those PO6 shots a little bit earlier, it works out for him. But I will say, FaZe on defense have controlled Mansion, which has worked out for them so far this game, even in that round. So what I'd love to see is in round 1 of defense, FaZe lock down Mansion and don't move from it. They just keep that area commanded. Defense number 2 right there, they get a first kill on Mansion, and then all 3 players at the same moment go soaring out to rocks. That's how Zuma got that flank you saw in that final kill cam. And oh, God!
Later.
That shot is ridiculously tough to hit, and Nameless just made it look routine.
Well, getting up in the bar is going to be attached. Study, it looks like, has a sniper as well. Snipes all over the place here as FaZe is going to drop into a 2v4, quickly getting tagged up, trying to challenge, able to re-peek and win one. But now it's Enable. All of a sudden, this turns into a 1v1 because of a team kill. Nameless takes out Saints, tries to turn in, but it is Enable. 60 seconds on the clock. They're going to run into each other here at top mansion. He saw him for a second, backs up, goes to the Arcade 5. Can't win it. Does he get away with his life? It looks like Spacely for now, not going to be hunting.
Yeah, they're just going to both go ahead, back up, play for full health. The bullets they just exchanged, they both went one shot, so neither were too confident to challenge, which makes a lot of sense. Why would Spacely when he's just got to play defense? He knows Enable at some point is going to have to be at either of these bomb sites. As Enable will just peek towards B. We'll see if he can get eyes on Spacely in the backside of this map.
Guys, does he check the back? Should be tagged up in a moment. Let's look at Spacely's POV. Should be an easy kill, right? Ooh, he may be nervous for a second.
Yeah.
Shot's a little bit off, but he's able to get the kill. That's when you got to bury.
I love seeing that from Spacely. I will say the hero of that round, though, Nameless, the first blood with the sniper. You never think of Nameless with a sniper as being the guy on LG to stand out. But this is what I love, right? Because certain teams will designate a sniper. But I'd love to see like a tournament where we can weed out and see who the best sniper is in the Call of Duty World League, because there's some hidden talent out there in the field.
Well, honestly, it was Nameless is a big part of the reason that was as close as it was, though. Because there's a 3v2 when they kind of push him to take that fight. He gets the team kill. That's how it ends up coming down to a 1 versus 1. But things may get interesting here. There's some aggression coming in from the side of FaZe. They're able to pick up the first kill. Now they know the flank is on. Will they realize there's multiple players? So I'm curious how Stunny plays this, because he's in the back. I was wondering if he was going to hide and play back, try and look for one of these flankers, or if they're going to bring the pressure in. If they realize there were 2 that far pushed up, they'd realize they kind of have a 3-2 advantage here by the A site.
Look at the defense from FaZe. This is how a lot of search and destroy superstars play the map. They get an advantage, and they immediately push out any area where the opposing team could be, and then kind of go process of elimination to say, okay, we know they're not rocks, we know they're not back satellite, we know they're not in our spawn, they've got to be in mansion, and now FaZe are playing that. A beautiful nade from Study, though. Enable holds that one to bring this to a 3-on-2.
They have not got this bomb down yet. Now looking to make a play. Shots coming in from Attach in the back. Where's the pressure going to come from? It's going to be the wall run coming in from Zuma. He's going to get into top bar, but both players going to be down below. It's going to be Saints now by his lonesome. Going to have to clutch up with the 1v3. Just over 20 seconds here to work with. Bomb down on the A site. Has to go. Here's for his squad. Not able to do so. Zuma at tables, able to finish it up.
FaZe has won what? Every single defensive round they've had so far. And the reason why? They played them all 3 drastically different. One, they go ahead, they set up, and they stay set up even after getting the number advantage. 2, they get set up, they get a kill, and they flood right out towards Mansion, get aggressive. Round 3, they just fly at Luminosity. They get caught off guard.
They know they've had 2 snipers, right?
Yep.
They know they've had 2 snipers setting up around half wall. Take advantage of it.
Smart plays from FaZe as they've earned themselves this 1-round lead, but this is where specialists begin to come into play. You can see Zuma with the active camo. He's double positive, and it's FaZe again. Taking the offensive card, they're going to soar in. Heatwave pop. Attach still somehow not dead. The trade from Zuma, and it looks like both teams going back and forth. Saints, though, comes out on top first team.
It's not going to be Cler trying to clutch 1v2. He has the glitch to go. Decides to pop it.
Both of them did.
Oh, I was wondering, I was like, where did he go? Both glitches being used. Now 1v2. They know where he is. Trying to challenge around the corner. Might be able to go up behind. Not able to find it. Saints clutches up. We're all tied up at 3 apiece. I was actually confused for a moment. I'm like, where did Nameless go?
Oh, I know.
He dipped.
A lot happened in those few moments, but
well, we saw what, a Heatwave used?
Heatwave to start, Psychosis to follow, glitch from Cler, glitch from Nameless. I think that's the 4 specialists that were using that round.
I don't think the camo was used, right?
I don't
think they still held it for the side of FaZe for Zuma.
Zuma, as he traded the kill, immediately got shot after, so he didn't have time to react.
Yeah, so he still has it. Okay.
So yeah, so if you look at on the top right of your scoreboard, yeah, 4 is correct. Oh, so many high-quality specialist abilities, and that's because it's a swing round, right? FaZe have won every defense. They win that offense, they go up 4-2. You expect them to win the D. 5-2 is a great spot to be in.
Well, they use camo to push all the way out of Mansion, try and find some early kills. Able to do so is Zuma. He is double digits now, 10 kills, basically doubling everybody in the lobby. The question is, does he realize there's one more behind? I've got that 3 highlighted. That's going to be Nameless. They back it up. It looks like Zuma's still aware there may be a split, but during this, Spacely's got the whole way in behind.
This is the right play. They don't know where exactly they can be pushed from, so instead of letting a pinch be forced by LG, they say, boys, let's play our spawn. All 3 fall back, and I want you to quickly look at your mini-map.
They realize they have bomb, that's for sure.
Look at where the objective is down at. That might be the worst spot I've ever seen a bomb be down at in my history of casting.
And you've got nothing to work with if you're Nameless. I mean, if you can get 1 pick here, maybe make this doable with the time on the clock. I mean, he has to get this 1v3 in 30 seconds. I just don't see how he gets this done.
Neither do I, as we're going to stay on board with him. Time ticking down. I don't even know how he begins to retake this.
I think he's
Do you even
feeling
want
the
to
way
stay
you
on the
are.
map? Do you just want to jump off? Because now you don't even have enough time to go for a plant. FaZe Clan get the kill. Another defensive round victory. It's been the theme of this game. That time, Zuma just blind camos out towards rocks, baits himself, lets Cler get the kill.
Yeah, I think
it's so well done.
I think Clay got the kill from top bedroom, and then as soon as he dies from that outside wall run, Zuma turns, cleans it up, so you get that kind of 2-for-1.
If FaZe keep this pattern, next defense, they should just 4-hit middle. They just all 4 of them go soaring out towards middle map, because that would be the only defensive play you really have left in this game.
Well, Attach is going to have PO6 in hand. Let's see if he can make a play.
No, it doesn't hit.
And There's the shot, not able to tag him up. He gives him another opportunity. It's Nameless getting the hit. We've seen him do that twice from the defensive end of things. Nice shot coming in. Zuma going to be pressing forward. He's able to find the kill. Can he find any more? He's thinking about just pushing through here. No tack masses we'll see on the glass. That flash going to make things very difficult. He's tagged up, not able to do so. Going to turn into a 2v2. You got Cler and Abel going up against Study and Nameless. What do you do on offense here, Jack?
Well, they're going to go ahead and make sure they can't be pinched. So what does that mean? Push an area of the map. This time it's the spawn of Luminosity. Nameless getting caught in a very awkward position, and it does look like he's just going to go ahead, play his life, which is the right call here, especially on defense. Still a 2 versus 2, 40 seconds remaining. FaZe, they know they have to plant this bomb still, but they're so paranoid. They have no idea where Study could be on the map.
Oh, hit marker
That's
for
a second
Nameless.
Second hit marker of this round.
Sees him for a second, not able to find the kill. It looks like it's going to be time to get this planted at A, and able to do so. Now it's going to be the 2v2. Where is Study in position? He's able to get picked off. It's now going to be just Nameless. We've seen him in so many of these scenarios. Can he find one? Make this a 1v1 and give himself a chance to be able to win this gunfight, but Cler not able to do so as Cler guns him.
Clayster getting hyped at the start of Championship Sunday here at MLG Orlando.
Should not have won that gunfight. Nameless got first shot. The sub at that range, but that's also why the Man of War is terrifying.
No, it's still a scary weapon even after the recent nerfs it received. The score now 5-3 in favor of FaZe. Throughout this entire game, it was the defense winning rounds, but their FaZe finally have a moment of breakthrough. And now do they go for the 4-hit middle?
That's actually why I switched to defense, because I was curious if they mix something up here.
Nope.
It is going to be an early nade from Atacho, seeing if he can find anything.
Look at your minimap.
This is what they did a couple rounds ago. Remember, they caught Nameless unaware, and they might be able to do it again. Another flash game comes in. Nameless ready this time. Can he find the kill? And not able to do so. Tags him up, but Cler there as well. Was not ready for 2 players, and the offensive pressure through bunker pays dividends again.
That's the captain of FaZe making the right call, following up his teammate, making sure that if they're going to risk one player's life, you might as well be able to trade it. Attach. They now know where the bomb is down at. Saints runs right into his weapon. Study 1 versus 4. Not today, says FaZe. 6-3. They're now up 2-0 as they are cruising through this loser's bracket run here at MLG Orlando.
And, you know, Replays was worried about what FaZe might be able to do on this map. It's where they've seen some struggles. What ends up happening is some unorthodox play. You let that overkill get in. Only the PO6 is going to be the sniper. Nameless probably, you know, had the advantage there as he was able to get some first bloods. I don't think that was really the game changer, but still, solid stuff. And it was really, we talked about it throughout the course of it. The defensive stacks, the different plays you saw at a FaZe. I feel like there's more pressure specifically on that map for the defense to mix things up in the offense as far as their hits for sure.
I'll say one thing, the analysts have done a lot of roasting of search and destroy matches throughout this weekend for good reason from what we've seen from some teams. This is one where I'm excited to hear what they think, but I think we're going to be hearing some praise for FaZe. They kept changing things up. They made the right shot calls. They never let the flanks affect them, and that's why they made that map look so easy. As they take that search and destroy, now they set themselves up for a
We're gonna listen to Reed praise himself for about 60 seconds is what I think, but I'm okay with that. Guys, it was an incredible game too. FaZe takes it. Now please, take it away. What are your thoughts?
I'm pretty sure Replays is going to be very mellow. I know TP.
I want to talk.
When's the last time I've ever praised myself on anything?
Right? I feel like we're at deja vu. We're deja vu. The floor is yours.
I'll be the one to say it. I think sniping with a PO6 on any map is detrimental. It's too difficult to get kills with it. The range on it isn't the same that you're going to get with a Locust or SVG. Tell me one kill Nameless got with the PO6 besides maybe one that you couldn't have easily got with an AR.
There was a few cross-map picks, but I think they ended up losing some of those rounds.
The reason I'm saying it is, yes, Overkill was in. Yes, he had a sub in his back pocket. But every single time, he's distancing himself so far, spending so much time every single round going for those picks, whereas FaZe switched it up, and we're just trading, getting next to each other, helping Zuma for once.
Exactly. And you don't have a full, full submachine gun when you have Overkill. Like, yes, you do have a sub in your back pocket. Is it a quick draw stock grip VMP? No, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely something to look out for too when you snipe. You do tend to distance yourself. You like to stay back. And honestly, I think that overall search and destroy, though, it was very unorthodox gameplay out of FaZe, and that is something that you like to see out of a team, especially the last time we played. That's why they've been playing so much better in search in this event. They've just been doing so much more stuff, rushing, helping Zuma, doing stuff. I think they hit bunker on that last round on defense. When's the last time you've seen a team do something like that? And that's what you need to do, and I think FaZe is just improving their search game, and it's really helping in this event.
Yeah, and one huge thing I think is that, like, the mental game into it, they allow Overkill to go through. None of them really use it on FaZe, and Luminosity plays super slow with it, and FaZe take advantage. They're like, you know what? one of our advantages, one of our weapons is Zuma in S&D. He loves to play fast. Instead of just letting him go do his own thing, help him out. You saw that a lot from Cler. He was going with him. They were just like, let's use Tommy. Let's use him. And he played extremely well, had double digits. And that's just what you want to see from FaZe. Just keep switching it up. Keep Luminosity on their toes.
From a player's perspective, how much more confident do you guys feel when you're executing a rush and you see 2 triangles next to you on your minimap?
Oh, it's great.
It's a small thing, but just having that confidence overall is huge for someone like Zuma. He's the best person in the game at getting first bloods. I think we all agree on that. And that gives him the confidence to do it. He takes over on this SMG.
Man, I play with him all the time, like myself, when I play Search and Destroy. He's one of those players, like you were just saying, if you just follow him, even if he goes down, he's going to be a player that at least has them weak. He's got such an immense amount of talent that he's one of those players that you have to follow up. And I feel like FaZe is just like lately, like in the past events, just haven't really helped him out. You know what I'm saying? It's like I feel like he's been performing more in S&D this event than he has in the past, just because I feel like they have more of a team. Like they're on the same page.
As I said before, it feels like deja vu, right, Mug? We've been in this situation before. FaZe up 2-0 against Luminosity, and then Luminosity pull out the reverse sweep. In a weird way, is that maybe going to make Luminosity feel a little bit better?
I think every team left in this venue. You know, when you go up 2-0 and then you lose that uplink, you're just kind of like, uh-oh. We've been seeing it so much at these events where these reverse sweeps come in. Those uplinks are just momentum changers. If I'm FaZe, I want to close it out. If I'm any team,
yes.
If I'm up 2-0, I want to close it out 3-0 and just not even worry about it.
So going into this uplink replays, what do Luminosity need to do? Maybe a little bit differently in their game plan or anything that you can think of it?
They're just going to have to slow down FaZe. I think they're going to have to step it up. I think we're going to need to see their star players perform. Like I said, last time they played each other, I think it was at Anaheim, it was Study going absolutely off, and they won last map. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I said it last Anaheim. If you have a player doing that and you're winning last map, it's a good thing that you won the match, but it's not a comfortable win. So I think they're going to need to see something out of Study, because right now they're not getting that star player like what they had last time when they beat FaZe, so they're going to need someone to wake it up here.
Is there anyone else specifically on Luminosity TP that you think should step up as well, maybe help out Study?
For Infection Uplink, Spacey's really darn good at this map, in my opinion.
He definitely is.
He is very good job at being just a nuisance in the enemy team's base, getting control of that graveyard, for example. What I've seen from the other players on this lineup, though, is they don't help him very much. There's times where they don't move the drone the correct ways in situation. The snap decision-making is off pretty commonly for this LG lineup, especially if they're not getting the kills.
And we saw the pacing issue yesterday against Elevate. I feel like this is probably LG's weaker game type. I could be wrong, but it's definitely something to keep a lookout for.
Obviously, Ban and Protect on your screens now. It doesn't really look like anything too ridiculous. I mean, obviously your camo's gone, Tempest's gone. Nothing really too noticeable there. Again, it looks like FaZe banning out the Shiva there.
Yeah, I still find that a little weird. Maybe they just don't want Study or Nameless to have it. They are still pretty good with that weapon, but I just feel like Cler's been so good with it overall. But I think Cler just feels so much more confident in his M8 versus going up versus Nameless.
Clay won the first map battle, right? So just going to keep rocking to it.
And, and Nameless and Study do like to use that weapon. I think FaZe knows that, so I feel like they're just a lot more confident in Clay's M8 shot right now than using the Shiva.
And obviously, we look at this uplink. You've seen the bans and protects. I think it's fair to say the specialists are going to be pretty bog standard, right?
Yeah.
I want to hear kind of predictions here. Obviously, FaZe up 2-0. Are we going to see maybe the start of a reverse sweep here at TP, or is this where FaZe close it out? Because they're a team, we always say it, losers bracket kind of team, right? This is where they thrive. But can Luminosity do this, team?
LG looks pretty bad, in my opinion. I don't think they have what it takes to reverse sweep. I'm calling that FaZe is going to close it out here, but we've seen so many sweeps already. It's going to be tough to say. And look at those specialists behind them. I like that. That looks dope.
Championship Sunday, they out here making it look all flashy and sweet. Psychosis, Heatwave, and then there's going to be what player is that using the scythe? I assume it's going to be.
It's Tommy.
Yeah,
Zuma.
It is, yeah.
Yep. Okay. He loves that thing.
He does. So, Merc, your predictions for this one?
I mean, I just think it's going to come down to those one-point throws. You have to execute, especially on a map like Infection. The sort of goal in mind is to use those one-point throws and then stay alive in the enemy base and cause havoc. You have to keep continuing to get those mid-map positions. Like those B stairs, they're so powerful. There's a lot of, like that brick wall, there's a lot of different power positions you can use to your team's advantage when you control middle map. So executing those one-point throws and staying alive in the enemy base is going to be so important on this map.
Please?
I mean, basically what Joe said, you kind of basically hit every subject that you need to talk about. I expect probably Zuma to go off on this map. I've been seeing him do a lot on this map. He's one of those players that once he gets into your base of the graveyard, I know TP's favorite graveyard over there, and then of course the back grandma side, when you get on that grave, it's something where you can like never seem to get him out of it. So it's going to be interesting to watch.
Well, that's our thoughts on the match. We can send it over to the casters though for map number 3.
Thank you, gentlemen. It was, I believe, early in game 1 where I said you feel good for LG. When Nameless, I saw him win a couple one-on-one kind of gunfights with Cler. Yes, FaZe won the game, but if that can continue, if he can win that duel here on this specific map and mode, I feel pretty good about their chances.
I'll tell you something he's going to need to. He's absolutely going to need to. I will say one thing. I just saw a tweet from LG's Twitter account, Luminosity Gaming's Twitter account, saying 2 months ago, they found themselves in this spot up against FaZe, down 0-2, and they completed the reverse sweep.
That was you and I casting at Anaheim. Yeah, I know we've referenced it now 10 times, but yes, this looks a lot like that match did, right?
It's the same darn series, so it's happened before. Can they do it again? Luminosity with their tournament hopes all down to this map. It's going to be Infection Uplink.
Championship Sunday. Make some noise, guys. We hop in now to game 3. We talked a bit about Nameless. I'm going to start off with him, just see what he's able to do. But, you know, as much as we talk about kind of the primary ARs, you know as well as I do, it usually comes down to kind of your second and third AR that are really the big deal on a map like this.
We've seen teams run 4 assault rifles on this map. So at this point, you could talk about every player needing to go off with that AR in hand. Saints now pulling one out on his own. FaZe strike first. It's a 1-point lead 30 seconds into the match.
And they've got great control here of mid-map. Should be able to turn this into more points. Starting to get 40 of Enable leading the way. And now it's time for Clay to try and get points. But nice shots come in from Spacely, able to shut it down. Able to win the gunfight there against Attach as well. The 1-pointer is up. It's away. It's not going to go through. His Study's able to snag it. Now they're looking to wrap.
Luminosity fans, you could thank Spacely for that one. Simple as that. He stays alive inside that back grave area, peaks at the perfect moment. FaZe were looking all over for him, and it just so happens he's in the one corner they don't check. Able to punish them, stop the throw from going in, and potentially even a dunk, as now FaZe, they're going to have to play from the back foot in their base.
And you'll see a lot of those flashes making a big impact in the search and destroys. You didn't have tac mask on a lot of these classes.
Yep.
See anyone change throughout the course of this. We know how effective they can be, especially from defense. If you're getting pushed, spawn up, get those tacticals out, try and disrupt any points from getting through. Psychosis is already out in front of Study here as he's looking to get forward. Finds Enable, not able to tee it up. That's going to be 3 down for LG. Solid stuff there for FaZe Clan, holding this B streak.
Basically watching over his middle map for the moment. He just needs to stay alive right now. Let his teammates push through, and that's exactly what Nameless is going to do. But the thing to remember, great, Luminosity, you've gained middle map control. You don't have the drone, so you can't actually do anything off of this. They've now got to rotate, put more pressure on Snow Street. The longer FaZe stay alive, the better. As you should just see this drone get ditched any moment by Attach. There it goes. As FaZe will spawn up near back broken. Thankfully for LG, they were expecting this. They have a presence middle map, and now they'll go for their first offensive push of the game.
And lining up here for Saints. He finds 2, opening the way for the dunk to begin to come through. There's the dunk. We'll get right back to Saints, who's on a 4 streak. Study doing well as well. They're racking up kills. One going to be wrapping all the way around the back, it looks like, from the side of FaZe, trying to get back and defend. This is the problem. I mean, they split pretty majorly there, trying to play defense. It actually ends up working out. They only give up 1 more point, but typically you kind of want to wrap back together, overextend together. They had 1 push through the base, 1 come through the middle of the map, 1 wrap back. A little bit fortunate, maybe that worked out.
I think the number one thing was that Enable went all the way to the top church window. So how much do you expect a defensive player to overextend that far? FaZe, thankfully, they do regain some foot on the map. Now they can go and try to pressure this drone. It's a heat wave, though, immediately used by Spacely. Enable trying to stay alive in this forward position. Nameless, though, says not today, bud. As LG still have a 2-point lead with 2 minutes remaining inside 1.
And you have to feel like FaZe, with the number of, okay, this is not just this weekend. Throughout the course of Black Ops 3, you have to say there's been more reverse sweeps than ever before. It feels like it for sure. With the inclusion of having 4 maps and modes, CTF, and Uplink being so different from your games 1 and 2. If they lose this, you feel like almost immediately you're thinking about this going to a game 5. You continue to see these flashbangs doing work. Is anyone swapping the tac mask yet?
I'm looking through FaZe right now because I can't believe that they're still getting flashed this badly by the LG team. Only 1 player with tac mask, and that's Zuma. Everybody else just running glass suppressor.
I feel like I'd be so annoyed the first time one hit me that I would go ahead and swap. The Heatwave does come in though, attach, able to find when Clay picks up a kill as well. There are 2 down for Luminosity. Maybe an opportunity now to get points through. They're trying to push through Barn. First gunfight gonna end up lost. Can Zuma find an angle here? He decides, no, I don't have a lead blocker. I have to wrap back now with the rest of the team dropping. Has to think about resetting, getting gun up, trying to win some key gunfights. Able to win one. Has 2 to his left, trying to push through here to Grave. Catches one as he's trying to go through the Barn. Finds yet another kill, getting tagged up from behind. Somehow still alive.
God.
Decides to re-peek with 1 burst in his gun. He found that. That would be glorious.
Stay alive. Stay alive. That's what you need to do, Zuma. You've got teammates pushing. Now, FaZe, go. Everybody, surge on out. Spacely with 2. They'll settle for the 1. FaZe keeping this game close. 35 seconds left in the half. I'm wondering, does LG begin to maybe use one of these specialists they have to guarantee themselves a final score in this last push? They could earn themselves a 2-possession lead with a dunk right here.
I would consider kineticing in, trying to find some kills. You clear the way here, you're getting points. Is basically going to go for the 1-pointer, though, is the question, or do they try to go for more? Saints is pushed in. He finds the kill without the kinetic. Might get the dunk, going to drop right in front. Sunny's still there, able to get the dunk in the final seconds, as Luminosity will take a 5-2 advantage. Doesn't look like anyone near enough to mid-map to get a toss-off. They're trying to get there, but it should go 5-2 to the half. Solid stuff from Luminosity to open things up.
Even in that last second, you saw it enable all the way pushed down the snow street. Again, going for that long overextension. Unfortunately, if you're on the side of FaZe, you kill 3 LG members before they can get anywhere really with the drone. But then the final guy sneaks right on in, picks it up, dunks it before you can react in time. LG with a 2-possession lead at the half. They've got to be feeling good.
And that's a big dunk because that was really, really close to not going through. And I don't want to compare that to, I don't want to say it was getting overzealous, over eager, but you had the easier 1-point toss. Remember we saw Clayster on Fringe, he gets that 4-piece, ends up trying to go for 2. Those can sometimes bite you.
At the half, even in the slang. Everybody dead even, but now here's a weapon we haven't seen used too much this weekend due to how often it's been banned.
First time I've casted it, to be honest.
The Vesper now brought out, it's back to life, and here is where it will dominate. Spacely deleted off the map.
That is where it is most powerful. I know it can get it done in just about any range, but up close and personal, it is a melt machine. Study and Saints finding kills for the defensive side here as you have control for the moment for Enable, but he ends up dropping mid-map, getting swarmed right now by Luminosity. A chance to put more points on the board. You have an EMP and Heatwave to work with as you're getting forward. Spacely is going to drop it, wants to get gun up, try and find some kills. The Heatwave is going to find one in the corner. Able to finish up attached. Can he find any more? Is he beginning to get forward? Going to find his second here in Zuma, trying to delay. As he is finding the kills, the shot does go over the top. One more on the board here for LG.
Okay, FaZe, you've got 4 dead. Got middle map, now actually work off of it. The issue is every time they go for an offensive play, a situation like that happens. Zuma, the one furthest pushed up, just loses the one-on-one. He just gets immediately sniped, and now FaZe are on the back foot again, just wondering, all right, where's our opening? How exactly are we going to play this? It does look like the Scythe of Zuma is going to be the leading catalyst of this push.
Trying to lead it in. Attach should have a toss over the top if he wants it. The interception not going to come in time. Zuma's still going, getting shots in, finds one with the Scythe before he ends up dropping. Now it's going to be Clayster left by his lonesome to hold mid-map. He's going to trade out one before falling. Now mid-map again to LG.
But right there, that's so frustrating. FaZe push all the way up. Everyone just dies. You don't get a single kill on the push outside of Zuma with one with the Scythe. They've got to be more than that.
FaZe though, Jack. Yeah. I think every single time they've gotten a point on the board, they've gone 3 or 4 down.
And that's the thing. They just have no rallies so far in this game. Not a single dunk yet. If you look at Luminosity, they've got 2 to their name, and they're looking for another now as they have 2 players coming off respawn.
We've seen Attach use the Vesper. Now it's going to try to do damage here with the M8. Looks like he wants to grab this and try to wrap again. Haven't seen a ton of success trying to play outside from either side of the offense, but with Attach holding drone, just needs his teammates to pick up some kills. There they come in, Enable and Zuma able to find some. Now he's trying to get forward. Zuma, the lead blocker in front, will check his POV for a second as he's searching for kills to open up the lane for Attach. Shots coming in. There's the 1-point shot. FaZe coming alive, now trailing by 2. 2.5 to go here in the second half.
Keep your composure, FaZe. Don't do anything ridiculously risky. Nice job, at least Enable to get one before he's traded out. FaZe can fight for middle map control. These next 2 gunfights are going to be absolutely key. If FaZe want to continue to put on this pressure, it's again Study striking first blood for LG.
Find the first one at mid-map time and time again, but now they're going to be able to wrap behind Saints. They've gotten a couple down. It's their chance. Can they find a third there in Spacely? Not able to finish the kill, but the assist does come through. Now you got to go. That's 3 down in pretty quick succession. You can get some map coverage here. Start the layer. They're pushing forward. There's another. The heat wave comes in, but still able to find the kill. Still staying alive. 2 down for LG. Somebody grab the drone. Try to get forward. It's going to be Cler getting it. Has some coverage up front, but getting shot there from Granny's window. Getting taken out, but able to trade out the kill as Enable. 1 pointer up. Is the interception there? No. Now only down 1. 90 seconds to go.
And Zuma is still alive. Finds another kill now. Zuma being the difference maker on a 3 streak. 20 and 18. He's had a fantastic series. Another kill on the Nameless. It's looking like LG's defense is all falling apart. They're 2 dead again. The drone in the hands of Cler. The 1-point throw.
Oh, it's off. It's off! Not able to put it through, but they still have an opportunity here. Pressure's coming forward. Can LG get it off in time? They're going to be able to grab it. And now with 2 up for FaZe, they have to reset. They're going to have another opportunity to make a play. But now it might be time for keep away.
That's as basic of a throw as it gets for Cler right there.
Maybe
if you're going to play on Championship Sunday, you need to hit those. 6-5 the score. Kinetic armor now pop. Study caught off guard. Zuma's there as well. Spacely loses the one-on-one. FaZe, though, they have no pressure middle map. The drone's getting away. They can go for the full 15-second reset. No.
Oh,
he botches the throw.
He at least wins the gunfight.
He botches the throw.
You have 40 seconds left. Attach, able to grab it. They got to clutch up and make a play. Getting tagged up from B-Step. The Vesper not going to be able to get on point.
It's all
There's
Enable.
one in behind.
It's all
Enable makes a play.
He's got time.
The drone. He's got the shot. There's a flash that comes in. He hits it through the flash. Able to get it done. We're all tied up. Still 20 seconds left to play.
One final push for Luminosity. Study with the drone gives him the hands. He's got Psychosis. 15 seconds left. It's 2 dead on FaZe. It looks like LG might just do it. The throw goes in. It goes in. And Luminosity will fight another game in the first match of Championship Sunday.
Oh, Lord help me. I thought the interception was there. I don't know who it was from FaZe. You saw him go vertical, thought he had the pick, but just over the top. We got ourselves a series now, baby.
1 point the difference in that game, and you see some frustration there from Cler as he realizes that one he might have missed, well, to be honest, the one he did miss was the reason they don't find it overtime.
They missed that one. But the one where he's full white, they get that shot through where you can't see anything. Thankfully, you kind of had it lined up beforehand. But what an insane uplink we just saw. Vincent, analysis, what are your guys' thoughts?
Maven, it is happening again. It is crazy, crazy game, all right? I feel like there's so much that you guys can really talk about there. So I'm just going to kind of give you guys free reign replays. We'll start with you. I mean, we'll go with Cler missing that 1-point throw. That's something that traditionally you guys, just that face. I wish we could just like slowly zoom in on that face of just dejection. That has to be a 1-point play you hit.
Yeah, no, that wasn't even like one of the harder throws where it's like over the wall and it takes a little bit more expertise and practice. It was kind of just like, I haven't practiced my drone shots in a while, it feels like. That's what it looked like. I don't know, I could be wrong, but that's a one that you could not miss, especially on a Championship Sunday.
I feel like he needs to get in those private matches, start playing a little bit of horse or something. Look, then it gets a little crazy, right? Because we see them kind of, they get some points on the ball, but then Luminosity, they have the drone and they're staying in their base, and you, all three of you kind of looked at each other and was like, this could go so terribly wrong.
It could. I mean, you saw the specialist usage out of FaZe, and they trapped them in their base. Nameless gets the ball middle map. He tries throwing it in a B search. It bounces off the wall. If he gets it into that B search, he has a teammate coming up that street. They're probably home free. But then, he loses a one-on-one. Someone throws it because the guys in FaZe did such a good job, especially Zuma, staying alive in the Luminosity base.
Right.
And that's what we talked about pregame. You hit your ones, and the guys that hit that ones, who support him, you just stay alive. You stay alive in that grandma's house, in that broken alley. Do the best you can. You didn't see it really until the last few minutes, but that's what we're talking about. You can do such a good job of staying alive in that map.
Attached did a fantastic job mid-map. He throws the drone over the wall. Yep. Zoomer's there. He's done a good job staying alive himself. He sinks a 1-point play, and we're kind of like, okay, all right, maybe stuff's going to reset. And then all of a sudden, Study picks up the drone, beats down a player, pops his Psychosis, and scores for the winning point. That was some crazy stuff.
I thought the FaZe player was going to get the interception. It seemed like they were lined up perfectly. I could not believe they weren't able to do it. But overall, LG did a very good job of retaining map control. Here's the is this the final play?
Yeah,
exactly. He beat down the player towards Broken, the last player of the FaZe, through the player, through the wall, and oh my goodness, I thought Zuma had it. Barely went over, and it seemed like Study threw that high a little bit on purpose, just to create that little bit of a delay, not really that line drive we're used to seeing. But overall, this is why teams aren't able to close out on these uplinks. We've seen it, like this is probably the 5th one we've seen, and it's because of that gameplay we were talking about. Zuma did it, but we only see that for a few minutes on each of these maps. Imagine if these teams were playing, quote-unquote, correct for more time than that. That's how you gain a lot more scores, and then the Clay missed throw. Man.
And now really quick, I think we talked about it a little bit, but didn't you see, I feel like FaZe had like too much drone control? Not like too much drone control in an effective way, but I feel like they were forgetting to get like a kill or two before they picked up the ball or the drone. Like they had a couple of moments where like I think all 3 of us were looking at each other like, why do they have the drone? There's no kills. Like they kept picking it up and going into the B street and then like peeking B street and then peeking back to middle, and there's players on both sides. It's like, why don't you just drop the drone and slay first? I feel like usually FaZe has like the initiative not to touch the drone as much and just kind of slay, but I feel like they were kind of putting themselves at a disadvantage because once you pick up that drone, of course, you know that you don't have a weapon, so you really can't do much. So I feel like they kind of forgot to slay sometimes too, like off the initiative kills.
It just seemed like they wanted to keep the drone out of Luminosity's hands, not let them waste time, and they were trying to do sort of like a B flank or fake. You could see a Luminosity player sort of rotate to that B street. You have to make sure you can hit some 1-point throws out of that.
Right.
Luckily, FaZe did execute some kills.
Yeah.
When you're basically in a 3v4, when your teammate has the drone, you know, if Luminosity gets those kills, then you know Attach is just stuck with that drone, and they're wasting more time.
The easiest way to say it is when you're in a 4v4 stalemate situation at middle map, the only time you take drone is for a wrap. You don't just pick up drone and try and go on the strong side. That's sort of the things that FaZe were struggling with. Luckily, it paid off for them in some of those situations, but overall, just not playing mechanically correct in some situations on both sides.
And you do, and like you said, you do it for the wrap, but like if you see it happen so much on evac, and I know we're not playing that map, but even on infection, you really only do that wrap when your teammates go down and you have nothing else to do, and you know that you have 2 people playing off the spawn. You don't want to give them map control. And I think we also forgot to touch on something that we did talk about, and it just came to my mind in the middle of that sentence, is when they threw the ball out on the street. I forget who it was on FaZe. I don't know who it was, but
I think it was Attach.
It might have been where he was probably told like by his team to throw it out, but he throws that drone out and his team doesn't have map control. Instead, in my opinion, if you throw the drone all the way to their base, because you were the top rock at the time, if you throw it all the way over to their middle tank or just down their street, you will stall so much time. So I think there was just a couple of small mistakes there that ended up making them lose there.
Yeah, and I mean, we point out the negatives, but Luminosity did such a good job on that first half. Going up 5-2 on that sort of less preferred side. They did a great job. You know, putting FaZe sort of in a mini spawn trap here and there, just getting those dunks. Great job by Luminosity on that first half.
For sure.
That Clay 1 miss or 1-point miss definitely coming back to haunt them. And I think if you're a Luminosity fan, more importantly, you see that side of Study that you want, right?
Yeah.
Gets a little bit animated, obviously clutches up, gets hyped, the high fives come in, and again, man, we have been here before. It is deja vu. It does, just one small mistake, man. You guys have been preaching about it all weekend. You need to play pretty much perfect Call of Duty for 10 minutes against some of these top teams now. In terms of ban and protect, you see the Man of War go, you see the Shiva go. Pretty much everything else, you know, kind of standard. But once again, it's Clayster banning that Shiva, so giving a lot of respect to the AR presence that Luminosity could potentially have that Merc.
Yeah, obviously the Shiva, but I like that Man of War ban.
Definitely.
You know, put an HVK or an M8 in Nameless's hands, in Saints' hands, whoever. So, you know, Clay wants to use that M8 for his assault rifle duel, so I do like that ban from them.
Yeah, I think FaZe, do I give them the advantage in the CTF? I guess I would. They've looked pretty good throughout Orlando. It's tough to say, though. I think LG is pretty solid at this map as well. Spacely is one of the better players at Fringe CTF, in my opinion, as well, playing those sneaks. Objective play is important.
I would like to say you give the advantage to FaZe just because they're playing pretty well, like you said, but as horrible as this sounds, I mean, every time this happens, I feel like we always go to a Game 5. It keeps happening. The way it is that Uplink and CTF are pretty similar game modes. You have to wrap back or you have to overextend. It's a very step-by-step process, like you always say. So I feel like whoever wins the Uplink usually gets that momentum. They're kind of feeling that game mode a little bit better than they were feeling the Hardpoint or the Search and Destroy, and they kind of get momentum off that. So I don't really know. I would like to say FaZe has the advantage, but
nobody knows.
Yeah, nobody knows. I don't really know. It's going to be interesting.
Interesting is, That's definitely the nice way to play. I just feel like, you know, we talked about this before the series even happened, right? As soon as a team is able to take that map number 3, they just seem to get so much momentum going into the rest of the series.
It has to be playing to the mental game of everybody here. You know, going up 2-0 and then losing that game 3, it's super important. But I mean, we'll definitely see what happens. Looking at these specialists, you have Scythe again, Psychosis, Kinetic, and Heatwave. Basically what we've been seeing with that Tempest band.
Yep. Mirror match.
Complete. That's a mirror match going into this this next map, but boy, oh boy, this one is probably going to be a good one. I think it's fair to say. Watch out for, of course, Luminosity with that momentum now. You see Study getting a little bit hyped up. That's always dangerous if you're a FaZe fan. Of course, that's going to be everything from our opinions on the analyst desk. We can throw over to our wonderful casters for map number 4. Over to you guys.
Superb stuff, gentlemen. Now, this is starting to feel familiar. Luminosity reverse sweep them out of Anaheim, or not out of Anaheim, sorry, in groups. In similar fashion to what we're watching. Yesterday, I casted the Optic Rise match. Rise was 1 point away from the 3-0 in the uplink. And Optic ends up pulling the reverse sweep. This is going 5 games.
I hope it does.
You've only casted 5-game series this weekend, too.
I think so, and that's why my voice sounds the way it does.
You sound great, buddy.
And I'm casting the next match, too, which will be Optic Elevate, so it's going to be even worse.
Oh, and you're casting with Matt, so you have to talk like 80% of the time.
Yeah,
You're screwed.
Yeah. Oh, between his nasally voice and my voice, that's gone. It's going to be a rough one, but we're getting into it. It's game number 4, Fringe, capture the flag. FaZe tasted the 3-0, and it was ripped away from them. Let's get into the action, crowd. It's Championship Sunday.
Oh, here we go. Let's kick things off with Attach. He's going to be pushing back alley. Should be running into Spacely here pretty shortly. It looks like Spacely playing a little bit more passive, expecting somebody to push through this battle. Sometimes if you win this one-on-one, you're able to apply some pretty quick pressure onto the opposing flag. But Spacely's actually going to catch him now. Should be able to fight behind Attach. Going to open things up now mid-map as they're going to start to fly forward. 2 players for FaZe. Going to be up on defense. Going to be Cler and Zuma trying to make plays. Cler at back rock. They're able to find 1, but they're not safe yet. You got 3 players from Luminosity kind of pushed up the barn.
Yeah, they're just going to wait things out for a moment, look for a pick before they get aggressive, which I think is the right play call here. One thing I do want to point out, FaZe a little bit more willing to begin to rock that Vesper. Haven't seen it yet from LG, even though it has been available.
And now the pressure comes in, finds 1, guns the second! 6 shots from Study. They couldn't decide who's taking the flag, but finally Study will grab it, trying to get the mid-map. Psychosis out. There is shots from Barn coming in. That's Clayster able to clutch. Who's able to grab it, though? No one able to get the touch yet. It's all Spacely, not able to win it and holding strong. Should be FaZe Clan. Can they get the return now? Yes, they do. That is all started by Clay, getting the Barn window and getting that first kill.
Psychosis player in Study starts sliding, trying to pick up his movement. He's not expecting someone top Barn, so Clay doesn't even get confused by that Psychosis. Attach, cleans up 1 player, not able to get the second. Either way, though, FaZe have the pressure coming in. This could be the first flag pull of the game. Spacely last alive, trying to hold off his space, and interesting route to take. He runs right at Nameless, a Psychosis of his own.
That would have been like the one time you almost want them to run backwards, right?
Both players try to go for the high wall run. Clay baits it out, and now they're so far behind on this route. This should be a capture. Perfect run by Clay. FaZe up 1-0.
FaZe gets it, but Saint's still in a dangerous position. Unfortunately, he's surrounded by a triangle of players. Finds 1. Think he saw another on his right. Able to pick that up. Saints, can he clutch? He's got 2. There was a 3rd at home, but a 3rd player actually ended up pushing forward. So now he's going to get the flag touch. Where does the spawn come in for the side of FaZe? 2 players pop. It's going to be back alley. It's all going to be on Spacely to pick those up, but the return already comes in. Everybody falls apart. Oh, God!
You just missed Attach. Kill all 3.
I thought for sure, I hopped the overextension thinking they were going to get that up for sure.
Attach, we have to hopefully see that at some point. Just had an insane 1v3, and now it's LG wondering how they even got themselves to this point.
I didn't even think to go to that side because he was by himself.
Oh gosh, this looks like it's going to be a capture again. FaZe Clan running it on in. Enable there, no! Stopped at the last foot, and now Luminosity with a counter cap.
Oh my God, and they're spawning back alley again. Let's go to Clayster's POV. It's going to be Spacely yet again that has to try and deal with the overextension. Can't even win the gunfight, not able to do so. The lightning coming in to slow it down. They're trying to get in. Let's go to Study, who's got the flag. Can they make the plays? But FaZe is in the base.
Uh-oh.
They've got all the pressure to deal with. They might be running right at each other.
Look at Study. He's panicking. He's running the flag back to FaZe's base because he has no other option.
He's got nowhere to go. Let's look at Study's POV. He should be surrounded here, trying to find the kill, not able to do so. The return should come in. Clayster's now got it. There's one player, though. Back home, it's going to be Saints, who made the opportunity to clutch. Saints going to be in the 1v1. Can't do it. Tagged up. And Clayster going to get FaZe a 2-0 edge.
Clayster twice now has slowed down and basically stopped his run to wait and bait out the opponent. As I'm explaining that, Zuma's already pulled the flag. He's got a top barn. This is going to be a third
rally,
capture.
Baby.
FaZe making a statement. 3 caps in 3 minutes.
And Luminosity just doesn't know what to do with this. They're indecisive, and they're letting FaZe just run the train on them right now. They've had a couple nice flag pulls, but like every kind of clutch engagement has gone the way of FaZe. Can they do it yet again? They're able to find the kill. The defensive stand is there. Clayster and Attach holding strong. You still have Saints kind of backside barn, but I mean, when you take a look at the minimap, what the hell is he going to do here? He needs some help.
Here's the issue. Both teams have 4 flag pulls in this game. FaZe has 4 returns. Luminosity
Attach has every one.
3 captures for FaZe of 4 pulls, an insane stat line.
I can't believe he made that 1v3. I'm already thinking about the forward pressure, man. He's melting here. He's been one of the first people to use it throughout the course of the weekend. Clayster, kind of by himself. Maybe one final push here for LG to try and get a cap on the board in the first half.
Everything going wrong for Luminosity, and it's all led by Attach, who just clutched up multiple times on a solo command flag return. FaZe playing full on defense. They want to go to the half with this lead, and I do not blame them. 3-0 is a great spot to find yourselves in. Some teams don't cap 3 times in an entire capture the flag game, let alone 5 minutes. That's what the score line will be. Attach leading FaZe to a great first side.
I mean, what more could you ask for if you're FaZe? And Luminosity now, when you're, okay, how do you feel? They're down 3-0, yes. And you got to think, though, LG probably had, I mean, what most consider to be the preferred side here, too. Is this almost an impossible task now for LG?
I would say it's not, because of how these captures were made. LG really should have had 3 caps to their name this game.
That's true.
Attach has made solo plays 3 times to get the returns. If that doesn't happen, this game could very well be tied. It could be in favor of LG. Instead, the 1v1s have just been won by FaZe.
And worth noting as well, Attach, remember he got fully streaked out when he was going on that bit of a spree. He does end up using the Hellstorm and Lightning, so that's one of, I guess, kind of a silver lining here for Luminosity. At least you don't have those streaks to work with as well. But this is not the start you wanted. Attach already moving in. He's got the Vesper in hand, trying to make plays. 3 down now for the side of Luminosity. If FaZe can get a flag out, looking pretty good here, but they're spawning towards that truck by back alley, and Abel with the nice shots, able to find one. Pushing through the back is going to be Clayster and also Zuma. If they can pick up a kill or 2 here, should have a good opportunity for a score. Can't win the first gunfight. Zuma trying to win more. He does have the scythe out in a very scary position for LG.
Second, the player goes to peek through the barn door.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. He's got a scythe. One more player. FaZe decide to fall back, though. They're playing off spawn. Scythe doesn't do too much for FaZe, but either way, a minute has gone by, and there's still no first cap for LG.
Somebody's kind of snuck through here. Let's take a look at what Spacely might be able to do. Wins the gunfight, the Clay caught reloading, but not able to find another kill. Saints is up in a position to maybe make a play. Now he decides to use the kinetic armor and shoot everything, but he needed every ounce of that kinetic armor to win that gunfight.
Some rough shots there from Saints. I will say, though, FaZe with this lead, they can play more defensively than normal. As Trevin always talks about, a 3-capture lead, they basically have 2 grave mistakes they can make before they really just have to play a flawless game. And they know that. Amos, though, this AR shot needs to continue. Pulls out that sight as quickly as possible. He'll pull this flag on out. 1v1, gets it done.
Able to do so. Now he needs some help as he pushes towards track. The dart going to be called out. I believe that's Attached. Who's going to try and make the play. First shot misses. Trying to get the route here. Second shot misses. Tries to dip and dive. Not able to do so. Nameless should be home free. One more pushing from behind, but as he dips in the barn, LG gets what they need. One on the board with 3 to go.
The bigger thing to point out, Nameless, yes, he's 7-13. This is a 3 streak. He was 4-13 before this life. 1 more kill, and he earns himself a Lightning. 2 more, and there's the Hellstorm. Can be perfect to clear FaZe out of the backside of their base that they've been playing so passively.
Well, we should. For now, I'll stick with Nameless just to see if he's able to pick up these streaks. So how do you like them? I mean, obviously, usually these Hellstorm Lightning are used defensively, right? But when you're in a position like this, you're going to have to go offensive with it. How would you like to see him use the Hellstorm? Well, just the Lightning. I take it back.
My God. Clayster just killed him from back silos with the one burst as he was already weak. FaZe pulling the flag out. They've got no one blocking these lanes. The only thing Nameless has to use is that streak, and you hear it get called in, trying to buy his teammate time to push in for the flag. It doesn't look like the 1v1's gonna happen. FaZe covering middle streak. The dart now stops the push. Saints, the last remaining hope for LG, runs out of ammo. The capture now.
The dart! There it is for FaZe. That might be the dagger.
Oh gosh, LG, you might have just seen your tournament hopes go up in flames. As now FaZe, they're 4 alive. They've got players all over their base. I just don't see how LG can even do this in the current scenario.
They've got a pretty good push here. Got a pretty good push, maybe to make a play. He finds that kill. He's got a really good opportunity. Tries to find it down low. Nice shots. Is Saints able to pick it up? Can they get a flagpole? Tries to find one more in the back. We saw Nameless pushing from the other side. Where is he going to take this? Trying to find a route. Can't win it. 2 in the back. Time and time again, we see Luminosity shut down by big defensive stands from FaZe. Minute 20 to go. 3 cap deficit. It looks like FaZe is looking towards one of their better finishes here. It really all of Black Ops 3, and they've got a good opportunity to keep this rolling through the losers bracket.
I've criticized FaZe a lot. I've said so many times, I can't remember the last time I've seen them win a Fringe CTF. Well, now they have. It's been a great performance, and one thing I do want to say, with the last couple deaths we've seen from Saints, it's now all 4 players on LG negative. They've been outslayed, they've been outmaneuvered. Attach played one of the best CTF first halves that I've seen from him in a long, long time.
His first half, I mean, not the sole reason, but a huge part of why they enjoyed that 3-0 advantage early on. A team kill coming in from LG. 35 seconds left. It looks to be a pretty anticlimactic finish to an insane series, as they've just got too much of a lead. There's not enough time here to even run the flag 3 times. FaZe Clan will be moving on.
GG's. Attach just mapping people with the Vesper. 7 returns for FaZe. It wasn't like LG weren't pulling the flag. It was just that FaZe were in the positions to get the stops. They've earned themselves this victory, and Luminosity will be eliminated with, what, a top 6 placement?
Yeah, and if you've been taking a look at the other side of this in the losers bracket round 5, Envy able to get the 3-1 victory. So the FaZe Envy matchup we've all been wanting is going to be happening, baby.
It looks like it will. FaZe Clan stay alive. They're now in the top 4. As they'll go ahead and shake the hands of their friends in LG on the other side of the stage. So much respect between these 2 teams. Unfortunately today, though, not Luminosity's day. The reverse sweep we saw at Anaheim, not gonna happen the second time.
And that's impressive for another reason, because Luminosity, if I remember correctly, last night got to get to sleep a pretty normal hour. They didn't have to play late into the evening. You and I were still up. It was about 3:30 a.m. when the FaZe match is finished. Clay told me he fell asleep about 4:30. He got a couple hours of sleep, got up, got breakfast, and here he is. So if they were a little tired coming into this series, it didn't show, man. They turned up in a big way.
It definitely didn't, and it all set the tone with that first Hardpoint, with how close it was. FaZe battling back and forth, because they went into that final hill down 240 to like 233. They locked down Lab. They win it 250 to 247. What a series that just was. The Uplink, that was a pleasure to catch.
I mean, Uplink is I've said it before, it's my favorite game mode in Black Ops 3 for moments just like that. You know, you see the miss from Clay, the near interception from Zuma on the defensive end. It was insane stuff. And speaking of Zuma, we've got Revit on the floor with an interview.
Yes, I'm here with Zuma after their impressive win over Luminosity there. Tommy, you guys are looking like you're going to make another impressive run in the losers bracket. Let me start from game 1. You guys bring out an interesting band, decided to take out Fast Hands from the game. What was the conversation like between team? What made you guys decide to go after that perk?
Honestly, we were like, yo, we're tired as hell. We got like 3 hours of sleep. I was throwing up for like an hour, so that was pretty bad. So we're just like, yo, let's ban Fast Hands and just see what happens from there. Yeah. So, yeah, we did it.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. So we go into the search and destroy. You're making plays all over. Pretty straightforward win for you guys. Then heading into the uplink, comes down to the final wire. You guys wind up losing it in the last couple of seconds. And the theme of the weekend, well, MLG events in general, the reverse sweeps all over the place. You guys are no stranger to that. Were you guys at all worried after losing that uplink and then going to the CTF that the reverse sweep could possibly happen?
No, not really. We were pretty confident. We were gunning. Everybody was feeling hot, so we weren't really worried at all. Just playing confident, playing our game. Just got to play.
Yeah, all right, sounds good. Now, looking ahead in the tournament for you guys, Envy wound up taking down Rise Nation in 3-1 fashion. How do you feel you match up against those guys? Because you're going to be facing off against them next.
I know all those guys. I know how they play. I think it's going to be a good matchup. It should be a good match, so Should be a good one.
Is there anybody from Envy that you're maybe afraid of or you're looking to shut down to help increase your chances at winning that match?
No, we're not scared of nobody. It doesn't matter who we play. Just play whoever we get, play our game, do our thing, and then just go from there.
Well, it was an impressive win from FaZe Clan over Luminosity. They're continuing to make an impressive run in the losers bracket. That's going to do it for this match. I'm going to send it over to the guys on the analyst desk to lead us into the next match. Give us your thoughts on what just happened here as well.
Thank you very much, Revan. Always good, of course, to hear from Zuma on the result of that game. And, you know, we thought maybe the reverse sweep could happen, but FaZe, they get their revenge. And that now also means that they're going to meet up against Envious in their next round of losers. So pretty intense matchup. But before we kind of talk about that one, let's kind of break down that last CTF TP. I'm going to start with you there. It seemed as if FaZe were just fully in control.
Huge fan of Attach's Vesper on that one. I was waiting for someone to pull it out in this tournament, and that's why they're able to shut down those close lanes so well. You saw he was able to get some of those clutch returns. You just pick a corner, any corner, and cut off that flag route time and time again. It's so annoying to play against, but he did it perfectly. I'm a huge fan of that style of play, making the game easy on yourself. And, you know, with a little bit of a buff the Vesper got, you saw some of those kills he was getting at the end, just mapping people with the thing. I love it. Huge fan.
I think that may become a permanent ban against Attach for the rest of the tournament because, as you said, he was mapping a couple of people, that's for sure. In terms of Luminosity, though, what kind of went wrong in that CTF? Because they were coming in with a lot of confidence. You get that last-second win in Uplink. It looked as if maybe the momentum had shifted, but apparently not.
I mean, I just think they just came out slow. I mean, you can't put yourself in, what, a 3-0 deficit in CTF, especially for such a good FaZe team. If I'm Luminosity, not only this game, I think the whole series and last night when we watched them versus Elevate, I think it's very important for them in the future to win one of the first two maps because, you know, even looking at like stage 2 playoffs, they were down 3-1 versus Optic when they made that comeback. So I think they just need to come out series and start off hotter.
I mean, we talk a little bit about Zuma as well on the FaZe side replays. He had a very, very solid series, I think it's fair to say, all around. Fantastic performance. I mean, this is the highlight package of the entire series from his perspective. And we kind of heard him a little bit there. How important is it for FaZe fans now that he plays this consistent throughout the rest of the day? Because losers bracket runs, as I'm sure all three of you guys know, can be pretty tough.
Yeah, for the FaZe fans, for him to be playing this consistent is something that you want to see. I think he's the go-to guy. Him and Attach are your two main submachine gun players that you want to be putting up these numbers, and he's been putting a lot of time in, and it's been showing now. I mean, if you're a FaZe fan right now, you have to be very confident. You have one of your best submachine gun players here doing what you expected. Obviously, some people have said that he hasn't done it in other events. I think right now he's shown why he's putting the time. He is here to play, and he's playing well.
I think this is the best we've seen FaZe probably all year. Yep. I guess you could argue they just look so much better. They're making team decisions. They look like a complete team. They're changing up. They're playing mind games with teams. They've just stepped it up to the next level. And we said we've expected them all year to sort of play this way, and they know it's crunch time. They're roster locked into Call of Duty XP. They have to start playing together and you know, changing those styles up, and you're finally seeing it here.
I feel like if there was a time that you would want to click, I mean, yeah, okay, it sucked you haven't clicked earlier in the year, but hey, 3 weeks away from COD XP, and now you finally start playing your best Call of Duty. I'm sure they'll take it, that's for sure. Of course, they are going to be going up against Team Envious. Here's a look at our bracket. Up next on main stage, we've got Optic Gaming versus Team Elevator. That's going to be the winners bracket final over on the Bravo stream. That's where you're going to be able to find FaZe Clan versus Team Envious. Seems you guys won't be doing analysis on that one. I have to get your thoughts. I need to know what's going through these wonderful minds of yours. Teep, I'm going to start with you there for FaZe Clan versus Envious. Who do you currently give the edge to there?
Both teams winning in kind of dominating fashion, but you know, that was a really good test for me on how good this Envious lineup is. I think they're going to start roaring through this losers bracket to make it to the losers final. I have them taking it with a 3-1.
3-1 Team Envious, okay. Merc, are you sticking with Team Envious? I know you said something similar to TP earlier on in the day.
I think if they, you know, after that Rise series, they lose the first Hardpoint, and then they win the next 3, and I think that's huge. I think they have a stronger Hardpoint game than FaZe. You know, depending if FaZe keeps switching up that ban and protect, but I expect Envy to be in the final if they catch fire. And, you know, I was tuning into that Bravo stream, and I saw JCat playing extremely well, and that's what you want to see on this Sunday.
Okay. Replays, your thoughts on that one?
I mean, I definitely think Envy probably has the edge in that series. I feel, as of now, the way FaZe is playing Search and Destroy, that they'll probably take that Search and Destroy. Like I said, we're talking about their complete teamness. They're doing well with that. I think that series is going to rely a lot on the Hardpoint, because like I said, for FaZe right now, that's not their strong game mode. So if they can get that Hardpoint and get up into 2-0, it's going to be very hard to take 2 respawns off a team like FaZe, so that would be huge for them. But as of now, I feel like Envy's looking like the stronger team. I think it's going to be one of those series where you have 2 top caliber teams going at each other. It's going to be who plays better COD at the time.
Definitely one to watch. I recommend opening up multiple tabs on your PC at home, or grab your iPhone, grab your tablet, do whatever you need to do. You're going to want to watch both games coming up, that's for sure. That's going to be everything for us from now. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, but when we return, it's prime time, baby.